this very special edition of Munch Media where we look at this year's biggest gaming event, E3, or as I'm officially calling it, Cyberpunk Oi. Joining us to look at this, we've got the lovely Aaron, our Nintendo expert.
Oh, I thank you. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Switchboy Plays. I'm currently playing through Stardew Valley. It's pretty intense, guys. Come on.
Switchboy Plays is actually a really good YouTube name.
Wait, what? Oh, wait, sorry. I thought you were about to say it's a real YouTube channel.
It probably is, yeah.
Oh, yeah, actually, it might be. Well, ignoring the possible lawsuit we're about to get, we're also joined by Joe, the Bethesda expert.
Hello, I'm Joe, the Bethesda expert.
And I'm Ralph, the maniac who stays up too late watching press
The
conferences.
guy who covers everything, literally everything else.
Everything else. Let's just to start us off.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know, E3 or the Electronics Expo is a massive gaming convention held in LA where every major company, even tangentially involved in video games, comes to make business deals and show off new things they're working on or give updates. And basically, it's a huge marketing event that is incredibly stupid, costs a lot of money, and is filled with exciting moments and just a lot of bullshit that I
Also, a
absolutely
lot of
love.
blood of the
A
fake
lot of
variety.
blood. Yeah, but it's actually like super violent. Like everything they show is super violent at times.
Yeah. And a lot of swearing as well.
Yeah,
I
a
know
lot
this
of
sounds
swearing.
stupid, but I thought it would be kind of a bit more camp, a bit more laid back.
There's a lot to cover in this because there was a lot of cool stuff happened this year. So yeah, we should run through the conferences
Cool.
Yes.
and then talk a bit at the end about like if there's any other like little bits and pieces that have been coming out of the conference that we think are exciting.
Yeah.
Well, Ralph, you're the one with the lantern. Lead us through the caves.
The first conference was EA, who were wank.
Yeah,
moving on.
literally everyone backlashed on that conference, like, big time.
Yeah. For a company who nobody trusts, who nobody likes, who have fucked up so much in the last year with the loot boxes that
Oh, yeah.
multiple governments had to get involved
I mean,
around
that,
the globe.
that sent
They-
shockwaves through the whole industry. You know, you had
Yeah,
people
like-
abolishing microtransactions and stuff left, right, and center.
Yeah, like it freaked the fuck out of so many different companies. And EA came on stage and were just like, hey guys, we're sorry about
Oh yeah,
this.
they said we didn't get it right or something the last year or
we
whatever.
we got this wrong trying to steal all this money from you. So we're proud to announce an upgraded version of our subscription service where you
Yeah.
can pay £15 more a month and get access to 4 new games.
Worth
Like
it.
£15 more a month just for 4 games. Jesus.
Yeah, oh, and the ability to like stream them.
Okay, that sounds rather niche. Like,
Yep, and then they're saying, oh, but we've learned our lessons. We're not putting loot boxes in, our big games from DICE like Battlefront or Battlefield.
yet.
But what we're doing is we're upgrading the ultimate cards in FIFA. And it's like, you fuckers weren't listening. And then,
Oh,
You've
they
got-
were listening. They were just changing it to
Ignoring.
how they wanted. I think with EA, a lot of people are seeing them as a corporate establishment now rather than a games producer. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, they're just full corporate. Like, there's no two ways about it, which is kind of
They
sad.
act
But...
like it so much as well.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, they're like a black hole. They just consume video game companies and their IPs and then publish like husks of like products that once were.
Yeah.
Pump them full of microtransactions and God knows
But
what
Aaron,
else.
what about their sweet indie dev program where they bring on sweet indie devs who are just normal people like you
Have
and me?
Have you ever seen Sweeney Todd, where people go and they sit back in the chair and then they cut the throats? It kind of sounds like that to me.
So
Go into
here's-
this EA program and then they get like I don't know fleeced.
Unraveled 2 is the like sausage pie of musicals.
Oh, good one.
Nice.
I have to say, I really appreciate you comparing EA to Sweeney Todd.
It's quite the comparison.
That works really well.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, EA royally fucked up. They didn't show anything substantial. They
Command
actually
and
gave...
Conquer mobile.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody
Uh,
excited for that? Totally not going to turn out like their last mobile game. What was
Nope,
it?
couldn't-
What was it? Not
just-
Darkest Dungeons.
Oh, that's very
Dungeon
different.
Keeper. Was
Dungeon
it?
Keeper, that's it.
That's the one that
No,
had like
man,
12-hour
like-
wait times and shit.
Like, bringing back one of the greatest video game series of all time and then going, now it's a fucking mobile game is not a good move.
No, but fans from that series, even though it's been gone for quite some time, they'll still probably pick it up and then
Yeah.
realise how
The-
disappointing it is when you have to like pay £5 or so for gems just to get your foot in the door.
You can see a million microtransactions in that thing, but then like other stuff as well. Like like Battlefield 5, from everything I've seen of it and read of it, sounds really interesting, and like it might actually be one of the hardest Battlefield games in a long time. Like changing it to World War II is a neat thing. They're setting it in untold areas of World War II, which is great. And like it's starting in 1940, and with each season of it, they're like moving forward by 1 year in the war. So they're completely changing and updating like where the game takes place.
Yeah.
Like it sounds super fascinating what they're doing with it.
The thing that drags me in for it was the gameplay, like the innovative ideas they're finally doing. I feel like with the past Battlefields, they've not really moved it forward in terms of technology and stuff, but they're actually like doing it this time, and which is good because it's felt stagnant as hell.
Yeah,
so.
Very stagnant, and like little neat things like everyone starts with less ammo. You all need to rely on like your teammates a lot more. Like all of that stuff seems super cool, but my main issue with it is they didn't fucking show you any of that at the press conference. They gave all of that footage to YouTube streamers who they're partnered with. So all this stuff came out after their conference, which meant that all these games, like journalists and critics who were trying to like write up what they were showing, didn't get the information they needed to actually like fucking review what was going on. And like that just shows how unthinking or how unplanned the EA thing was, because it just led to a lot of confusion or people being disappointed.
Yeah.
Because they didn't explain their mechanics or anything. And if you went to watch the YouTube, like Jack Frags, for example, is like the big one who EA team up with a lot.
Yeah.
He then released videos after the sponsored ones saying, I think this was a bad idea because I didn't get to tell you what I really thought about the game. Here are my problems with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, everything from EA backfired. And it was a really shitty way to start off the conference.
Yeah.
And I feel sad we have talked about it this much.
Yeah, no, we've talked about it too much. So something out of what you just said that's not actually completely related to EA was that you said they didn't explain the mechanics. Once we get onto some of the further on like conferences and stuff, Microsoft in particular, I sort of liked how they did it, but sort of didn't, because like they didn't explain any of the games. They just showed trailers, which is like I could literally go to their YouTube channel, because on the Xbox YouTube channel they upload trailers for every game coming out on Xbox.
Yeah, and like almost right away as well.
I could just click the play all button and get the same experience without the cheering of the crowd or whatever in the background.
But some people like that, the whole experience, like, oh my god, it's brilliant. It really annoys me in some cases when, I don't know, FIFA's announced and they say, oh, we're reforming the Ultimate Teams and shit, and people are roaring and stuff. I'm like, just get to the fucking good stuff.
Well, I mean,
that's
like,
down
you
to
got
personal
it is
preference.
good stuff for some people. You got to keep in mind. Like, I think
Of course,
when people watch E3, they watch it very, like, sort of blinded by their own taste in games, and then like if they see something, they're like, oh, that's not what I wanted, or like that's terrible. Like, yeah, if it's bad business practice, or it's like EA where they just don't show anything, like of course that's terrible. But like when you see these games come up, you have to keep an open mind, because like, you know, like
Of
the
course,
gaming industry is huge, and like
I think
don't get me
that's
wrong,
one of the reasons
not
why I
defending
can sit
Ultimate
through-
Team, but
Oh, sorry.
no, go on.
I actually think you're kind of you are onto something there, Joe. Like, it is all about like what your personal preferences are going in.
I was
which
just
is
going to
actually
say, I
one
don't
of the
think
reasons.
that's one of the reasons I could sit through the whole thing. It's just
The thing I will say about Microsoft's conference is in terms of announcements for games or reveals of games, I think theirs was probably the most exciting.
I agree with exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, like just off the top of my head, I this is kind of a vain reason. I haven't been excited in a Forza game for quite some time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
seeing that there's going to be an open world racing game set in the UK where like seasons change as time goes on seems really fun.
Yeah,
and
it does,
super
yeah.
cool.
Forza Horizon's great. It's a great series.
Forza Horizon. I've played them like years ago, and they were so much fun. And I think now's the time I'm going to leap back into them.
Also,
Princess
find
Street
my
was in
house.
the
Princess Street is in the trailer,
which is great. As a video person as well, the trailers for Forza Horizon, at least from 3 onwards, are by the same
made.
people. Yeah, and it's by the same people, and they did this trailer as well, and that's how they get you. Those trailers,
they're pretty slick.
They've got so much freedom with cars as well. Like they can look so cool, and like this, and like you said, the dynamic weather and stuff. Like some of the stuff they get in those trailers just makes you want to buy it. Like,
it's like the perfect news for somebody who's like, I love doing transitions.
Yeah, I know. It's
You've got changing seasons. I love doing hard cuts and transition fades in.
Yeah, exactly. It's like their dream. But no. Yeah, Forza looks cool. Yeah, so like you said about the whole it being really exciting, I agree that it was really exciting, but there were certain games in there like I don't know, like Metro, for example, which had a lot of gameplay. And obviously
I completely forgot that was there.
Really? Oh, okay. Well, I mean, maybe you just weren't that interested.
Just until you said that.
Metro.
No, I mean, I love the Metro games.
Yeah, it had a lot of gameplay, and I wanted to know more. Like actually, what you could do and stuff, because Metro's a really deep game, right? Like it's like an RPG and stuff primarily. So I wanted to know, what was different about this one, because it looks similar, but different world and stuff. And all I saw was a trailer, which is great, and the trailer was really cool. But like, if I wanted to watch the trailer, I could just watch it on YouTube. Like there's no reason for me to sit through that conference.
Yeah.
Realistically,
I think that's one of the difficult. I think that's a case where a game like Metro is really difficult to show off because so much of it is in the way that those games like really build up tension.
Yeah.
And like I don't think you can do that without like say like a 10-12 minute long like gameplay demo.
Yeah. I mean that's why I'm there for E3 though. Like I want in-depth detail about the games that are coming out to get me properly excited, because like trailers are cool and all, but like if I'm gonna pre-order a game especially, like I want to know about it like more than
just like a cinematic that's 30 seconds long and that focuses on like I don't know where the game's gonna be. I totally get that. Like
I think like that's something that's always like good about E3 isn't just like a showcase where they come on and click play on a bunch of trailers. You can then like hear reviews or see footage that has been captured from the show floor. So there are interviews and extended articles on like the demo for Metro that you can go and check out. And again, I think it's something that's like a little bit difficult to show from the conferences. The main difference is that you're constantly switching locations in that game. You're like on a train traveling through Russia. Yeah, and it's like semi-open world-ish.
Well, that's the sort of stuff I want to know, because I had no idea just from watching E3. Like I'm talking just from watching the E3 like main showcases, and the side stuff's great, but like for these big huge games, I want to have breakdowns of the ones that are most developed and ready to come out. Like I don't know,
not one that's going to be effectively shown next year with gameplay and story and stuff like that.
As the Bethesda expert, I think this is why I enjoyed the Bethesda. I'm going to talk about a thing that I hated that Bethesda did, and it was in the Microsoft conference.
Let's just wait, because there's a few more Microsoft.
No, this is related to the Microsoft one though, because they showed Fallout 76 at the Microsoft one, which I think was completely dumb and like did not need to be done. Because
they're in partner. They've
exactly
been doing it for years,
but like that's why they did it. But they showed the exact same trailer. Like, I know they went into more detail than Bethesda, which was good, but, like, and the detail they did was great, but they didn't need to show it at Microsoft. They just didn't. Like, it was for their own conference. Like, it was coming up later.
Definitely.
And they didn't.
It was only like a few hours later as well.
I know, that's what I don't get. And, like, obviously Microsoft, like, Todd Howard said, like, he literally said, "Oh, you should come along." It's almost like in a pally
he's
way.
like, "Hey guys, I see you've got some friends here. Why don't you come hang out with me as well?"
Yeah, like, I don't know. I wasn't a fan of that, and I was like,
No.
that time slot with all these trailers that, like, of smaller games that could have trailers somewhere else. I know they want Spotlight and stuff, but, like, they could have shown off Metro in that time where they showed a Bethesda trailer and then something else. Like, I don't know. That's what I watch the main conference for. I want detail so that I know, oh, I do want to pre-order that game. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like they did show off some like smaller bits and pieces, like there's games like Tunic and things like that, which looked pretty neat and got people excited. But I think Microsoft, like, they definitely had big announcements. Like, one of the most exciting things, well, actually there's one more, there's two more games, but there's one I want to mention before, like, this next bit is Shadows Die Twice, the new From Software game, was something I did not expect to see at a Microsoft
Is that
conference.
one of those new ninja samurai-looking ass games?
Yes,
there's
samurai.
like 3 of them, wasn't there?
Yeah, there were like 3 or 4 samurai games for C3.
They all look pretty good though, at least.
Like, the thing that gets me really excited about the new From Software is, like, it's made with the guys who made Dark Souls and Bloodborne, but this looks like they've taken it in a like completely new direction, which makes me very excited. And just like little simple things like it's a part stealth game and you have a grappling hook, which means that you can move everywhere really quickly. Makes me super excited because those games are quite often about like taking your time and being quite defensive.
Yeah, being precise and dodging and stuff. So I wonder if this will make it easier or maybe just difficult in a new way.
I think difficult in a new way will definitely be the thing. Like those guys don't make easy games.
You can't just grapple it with a situation and, like pile drive into the ground before you can.
I think that might actually be one of the things you can do is like if you're totally fucked, you can be like, oh shit, I need to get out of here.
I wonder if that would make it easy though. Just having that escape plan in your
like
pocket.
a quick retreat.
Yeah.
I think one thing that they showed off with a grappling hook that I looked at and just thought that's fucking great was like a boss enemy was attacking a player character in the trailer. The player dodged the boss and then like grapple hooked onto his head and like shot up towards him, got like a quick slash and then like flew through the air like another 2-3 meters before like landing on the ground and like spinning around to face him. And I was like, fuck, that looks great. That looks like so much fun.
Yeah,
it's cool how they've integrated it into combat and stuff as well, especially for some of like the bigger bosses when you're like, I don't know, fighting a dragon or something. You grapple onto its back and like run up and like stab it in the head or something.
Yeah, it's like some proper like Shadow of the Colossus type stuff, which is so good. But the other big thing that Microsoft did was they announced like a change in their business model, which is pretty interesting. So like Microsoft, typically speaking, don't acquire studios the way that Sony does. They usually like bank on IPs and then kind of give the developers like a set amount of freedom. They announced that they'd bought 5 studios and they formed a new one, all in house. So some of them made sense. Like they bought the people who make the Forza games. They bought the people who make the zombie games that come out on Xbox. What are they called?
Is it those silly ones that have lots and lots of zombies?
Not Dead Rising. That's Capcom. It's
oh my bad.
The second one came out like a month ago.
It's not Dying Light, is it?
No. Oh, that was the other thing. Fucking fuck. Thanks for reminding me of that. I'm also super excited for Dying Light because they brought on to talk about it. They brought on Chris Avellone. Do you guys know who he is?
No.
Chris Avellone is a writer who has basically worked on like every like game-changing RPG for like the last 20 years.
Good track.
Like he's
like,
he's
so from Dying Light 1 they were like, oh crap, we need better writing.
We need better writers. Who do we get? And then like Chris Avellone left Obsidian like earlier this year, so they clearly went fucking get that guy.
Yeah, for sure.
That makes sense.
But yeah, like having and because that game is all about, it's set like 15 years after a zombie apocalypse, and it's all about how you're like this independent agent who's working in a city with all like these different human factions in it, and you can like interact with them and do missions for them and like change the outcome. So like faction A takes over this part of town, faction B takes over this part of town. Chris Avellone wrote Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, so that's obviously
of course, if he was with Obsidian
for its right.
Yeah, and like if that dude is writing all that stuff, that game is going to be fucking wild.
Especially since New Vegas had kind of like a similar thing where you chose which faction you wanted to side with. Could be really cool. It could be really cool.
And not even like what faction you could side with. You could like be a double agent and like do some missions for one of them, set them up so they thought you were a friend, and then like 10 hours later in the game, like fuck them over completely. Like it was a game with such freedom, and if even a touch of that comes into Dying Light 2, that is a really exciting thing.
I'd love to see that explored more, especially in like a zombie game.
That's
fun
the
just
thing.
Fucking over factions left, right, and center.
Yeah. That's the thing that entices me about it, because like zombie games, like I'm kind of over them, and if it's more focused on the humans in the world, then that'll be more exciting, because that's like the zombies are usually the main focus, right? It's like, oh, there's not much civilization left. That was what Dying Light 1 was, like, to me anyway. Yeah, the humans were there, but like the zombies were still a huge part. It's like, I don't know. Like, yeah, I want them to be there, but like I want the humans to be the main focus. Like,
ultimately, feeling humans are the most dangerous thing in the world, and having different factions
Dying Light 2 is
great,
real
monsters.
But we should move on, because we're taking too long on each game, I think.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, sure.
There's a lot.
There is the thing that came out of Microsoft, which was the very end of the conference.
We'll leave that to last there, because there's a couple more I want to go over, if that's cool.
Oh, okay,
I just want to say Crackdown 3 looks pretty crap, in my opinion. I don't know, like, yeah, it's not my type of game, but like even the animations just didn't look good. Like they looked stuttery almost. Like I was like, that does not look like a finished game in the or not even like close. They've delayed it so many times. It's like it's just not going to be great, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure.
Yep. I imagine that game is going to be busted as hell when it eventually does come out.
Yeah, and then the only other one I want to talk... Oh no, there's two. One I'll talk about really shortly was the skating game that like barely had any footage.
Oh, what was that called again?
Session. Now
it's called Skate 4. Like, don't fuck around.
Yeah, it's called Session, but yeah, Skate 4.
It's called Skate 4.
And the reason I loved the skate games, and a lot of people did, they were really, even though skateboarding isn't like, a really mainstream thing, especially not nowadays, the skate games were so popular because they had a lot of freedom. And I don't know about you guys, but the camera in Session looks amazing. And as someone who likes making videos, games with good camera systems, because Skate 3 had a good one, but it's an old game now, it looks pretty ugly.
Oh yeah, that's right.
In all truth be told, the messing with depth of field and stuff in that game and the lighting just looks fun in itself. And the one other one was Kingdom Hearts. The voice acting in that was gross. We'll talk more about that later.
I fucking despise the voice act, like visuals, characters, everything else other than the story and voice line, probably.
Yeah, that was in a different conference as well, right? So we can talk about that later, I think.
I'm going to.
Yeah,
Kingdom Hearts was shown at 4 conferences.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Then.
Jesus Christ.
The same almost the same fucking trailer every time as well.
I mean, people are hyped for it, but don't shove it far too down people's throats,
It put me off quite a lot of things.
Seeing like Monsters Inc. several hundred times, like stuff.
Yeah, jeez, man.
I mean, I'm all excited for having like Pixar characters in the Kingdom Hearts game, or at least more of them. But come on, I've seen the trailer like 5 times now.
Yeah, there is too much of that shit.
Anyway, let's go on the biggie. Let's do the biggie.
The biggie. Yes, the most exciting thing to ever happen, ever.
In everyone's opinion, and
in
no
everyone's
one's allowed to think differently.
Unanimously decided upon.
Microsoft closing off the fucking E3 press conference. Phil Spencer's up on stage saying goodbye to everyone, and the screen fucking goes black and it starts crackling. And then red text comes up on screen saying hacks, CD hacks Microsoft conference. And then a bunch of Steam keys start scrolling down the screen for Game of the Year edition of The Witcher free. And then a trailer gets uploaded and it's motherfucking Cyberpunk. a game that I've been excited about since the first trailer was released in 2012, and then
What?
nothing has been said of it since then.
Yeah.
Jesus. 2012? Wow.
Yep, they announced it before CD Projekt Red had even like properly finished The Witcher 3. Said nothing about it. Actually, they said one thing about it, which was earlier this year, their official Twitter account tweeted the word beep, and then nothing else since then.
Wait, hold on a second. What was it Ralph was saying about the Elder Scrolls 6 tiny announcement earlier that happened, and Cyberpunk had one in 2012 as well?
Hey. This is no. That wasn't like an E3 conference.
Yeah, but still, it's still a similar thing.
Hey, the Cyberpunk trailer from like 6 years ago was like 2.5 minutes long.
Yeah, with a very slow-mo of the same shot. It was a cool trailer.
Very slow. It was a cool trailer. Yeah. But man, yeah, that trailer is fucking nuts.
It is nuts.
Like,
yeah,
just as like I'm a fan of Cyberpunk, I love the Cyberpunk aesthetic, and fucking hell, they have nailed it.
It does look very pretty.
I mean, not even it's not even the fact that the game looks pretty that makes it about. It's about how
it's the
fucking
style,
ugly and gross everything looks, and how
style.
Just like.
But glowy equals beautiful and pretty.
Glowy equals beautiful. But what if the glowy is like a man's face who's been caved in, so he had it replaced with like robot light bulbs?
Beauty comes in many forms.
It's all fake, and there's gonna be big banners of like really like
plastic
women with like
surgery
no
or shit.
clothes on, and it's gonna be like that kind of world.
Half-naked robots. Oh hell yeah!
It's gonna be punk as fuck.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, we should probably get into this. Have you guys read or seen anything about the demo that they showed off on the show floor afterwards?
Other than what you said about the whole black market thing, not really.
Okay, no, so that trailer got everyone pretty fucking hyped because it just like showed off this. If you haven't seen the trailer, go and watch it just to get an idea of how balls out nuts the aesthetic of this game is. But the 50-minute. It was a 50-minute long demo. So, like, this went from a game that nobody had heard of in 6 years to a trailer no one expected to a 50-minute long gameplay demo that by all accounts, looked like a finished product. Looked like a game that you should expect in the next, 2 years. And it just sounds like it has everything. So the thing that got me most excited about it is from listening to other people's reactions who'd seen the demo, and like every single one of them, from people at GameSpot and IGN and Kotaku and all these different online publications, they all came away from that demo describing it completely differently, but all of their descriptions merge in a way that's super exciting. So you had people saying like, imagine Grand Theft Auto, and then you had other people saying, think of it more as like Deus Ex, and then you had people saying like, oh, it's like Syndicate. And it's like all of these very, very, very different games are merging, and it seems like they're like all of their mechanics are doing the same things. Like it has like Mass Effect and Witcher 3 style dialogue trees, but they're really involved. So an example that somebody gave was there was a scene where you were talking to like a corporate lady, and she had a bodyguard with her, and she was asking you whether or not how this mission she was sending you on had gone down, and like a little UI thing popped up that only the player could see that said, hey, they're hacking you. They're installing a lie detector in a computer chip in your head. So then oh, if I lie, they'll understand this. And then as that happens, the dialogue trees expand. So you can continue talking to the corporate lady. You can like turn and start talking to the bodyguard. You can pull your gun out, grab his gun. You can like try to disarm them or like try to escape. And so it seems like they're really leaning into Cyberpunk's origins as a tabletop role-playing game. Yeah. Where they've said, we need to give everybody as many options at all times.
It reminds me of a Bethesda title.
It's like, I mean, like imagine that type of thing, but like way more involved.
What worries me about that, though, is that this is going to be on consoles as well, obviously. How would you have that many options for a controller? Because there's just only so many buttons you have, at your disposal.
Well, I mean, I think you'd do it like, say, the way that Mass Effect did, where you'd have like a dial wheel, and you'd say like more options, or you could maybe like, I don't know, like click left bumper to select the second bunch of options. And like maybe not all situations will be as in depth as that.
Yeah.
But if that's like the kind of level of detail they're willing to go into, that's pretty nuts. The thing that could be the other thing that seems very cool about the gameplay demo that they were showing is for a start, the entire game is in first person,
which triggered a lot of people.
A lot of people who want their RPGs to be in third person, but like all like the dialogue, some of the dialogue cutscenes are in third person, so you do get to like see your character who's fully customizable.
Oh. Nice.
And like Cyberpunk levels are fully customizable. So like, hey man, I want a new arm.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I know this sounds, I guess like I'm hoping too much, but like, see when it comes to this, there's usually only like 2 voices to choose from if you're making your own character in a game with this much dialogue. Realistically, there's usually only one, to be honest.
Yeah. So there's you play a main character called V. You can choose their gender, and as far as I know, there's only the 2 voices.
Yeah, because that's what gets me. Because yeah, it's fully customizable. But if I want to make like a really, I don't know why, but say I want to make like an old grizzly dude, like he just wouldn't suit the voice, sort of thing. That's usually the issue I have with stuff like that. That's the issue I had with Fallout 4. I didn't like, But
I spent a lot of Fallout 4 looking at my guy being like, you don't sound like Dave.
Yeah,
Who the fuck are
exactly.
you?
Yeah, I think that's like something you can't really get around though, because like these games just have so many lines of dialogue. It's just unrealistic to expect.
Yeah, I mean, The Witcher
well.
3 had a 6,000 page long script.
Oh.
So yeah, like recording all the dialogue for that would be crazy.
Yeah.
There might be some stuff in it. So like, for example, you can like, as you may have seen from the trailer, you can like replace your jaw with a robot jaw. And there are some people who don't even have mouths. They have like fluorescent like lights that communicate for them. So I can imagine that there might be some voice modulation stuff. You know, kind of to make you sound a bit more kind of
even
robot-y.
if you could like change the pitch of the voice, because like you could do
Yeah.
that. You could record all the things and then just allow someone to change the pitch. That would make sense.
You could do that in Saints Row. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, which still has like one of the best character customizers ever.
Oh yeah,
'Cause you could
Saints
just
Row's always been good for customization.
Yeah, you could make some fucking monsters in Saints Row. I'm never gonna forget my like weird wrestling dad that I made.
I really like the first person though, as a first person fan. That's up my alley, and I think people getting mad about it is a bit far. Like, I don't know, for this kind of world, it just makes sense as well. Like,
yeah, it's actually good you said that,
Yeah.
because one of the responses CG Projekt Red gave was in a cyberpunk world where, like, you know, skyscrapers are everywhere and massive corporations rule everything, you are meant to feel like really small and insignificant. And like they want you to look up in the sky and like see these huge monolithic like mega towers and just like be in awe, but then also feel like really claustrophobic when you're in parts of the city. So like, yeah, being in a first person perspective I think works well for that, but then also it works with all of the cybernetic stuff that we're doing. So like you can have your eyeballs replaced so you can like ping and see enemies through walls.
Overlay HUD and even just immersion in general. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like I'm 1000% on board with this game.
Yeah.
Completely, absolutely. And the fact that they have a 50-minute playable demo that everybody comes, like, I said this to Aaron just before we started recording, Joe, but I like seeing people's reactions from E3, so I was watching lots of streams where people were, you know, being interviewed or they were just chatting about what we're seeing at the show. Every single one of those fucking streams I saw had at least one person completely unsolicited, just without any provocation whatsoever, saying, have you seen Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
And like including people from like Ubisoft and Microsoft who were trying to sell you different games.
Yeah.
We're just like,
the problem I have with those kind of demos though is that they're timed for number one, which means they can literally, like you can't tell how finished a game, well, you can sort of tell how finished a game is from a timed demo, but they could have just worked completely on that area of timed demo, and the rest of the game could be still scattered, like completely.
oh yeah, totally.
So like, I feel like, you can go off a 15-minute demo to some extent, and I don't feel like CD Projekt Red are the kind of company that would, you know, fake their game, so they obviously haven't done that. But like, you can't, like, I know like it's really hype and stuff, and I'm hyped for it. Like, I'm just trying to look at it from a non-biased standpoint. Like,
Oh
you
yeah,
know.
yeah, totally.
It makes sense. Like they could have engineered the whole demo for the thing and like had the cinematic commissions like months ago, and being like,
Oh,
"Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure the
this
cinematic
game's gonna come
works
out
on
Oh,
for
yeah,
ages. But like,
So
yeah, it's just
the thing that makes me slightly slightly less worried about it just being like a gameplay slice that they've developed is that the variety of places they went to in it was pretty drastic, and it didn't involve like loading scenes or cuts and transitions.
Yeah.
So, and it included things like getting in a car and driving across a chunk of the city, and then like going into this building, coming out of that building, and
how is it timed then? That's what I don't get. Did they just put on a timer and say after these, whether you progress or not, you get kicked off?
so it was
Because
the gameplay demo was of somebody was playing through like a couple.
My bad.
So surely that is a linear.
Did you just get hacked?
a linear
Yes.
experience then? If
Oh,
they're
no.
all set on,
I would say it's a
missions,
well rehearsed one because they were kind of going through a couple of side missions.
See, that's where it gets me. Because if they were just let out on the world and they said, okay, you can do these missions, you have 50 minutes to play the game, do whatever you want. Like, that would mean that they've not tailored it. And like, I don't want to look. I don't think CD Projekt Red are the sort of company to do that. But like, you know, if they tailor it like that and then they give them these missions and like they follow that path and it's a set 50-minute demo, that just makes me uncomfortable a little bit. Something I really need to point out before we move on is that CD Projekt Red did also have that controversy with their staff earlier, and there was confirmed that lots of different developers have been in and out on this game over its lifetime. A lot.
Oh right, yeah.
Lots of writers being switched out, which is never good for a game. So I really hope that they flesh that out before pushing this game out, because I know that they might feel pressured because so many people, you know, were like waiting on it and talking about it and all that stuff. So I just hope that that doesn't negatively impact the final result and that they've sorted out their staff issues and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, the amount of people that have been like they've been hiring, who've been like coming in and out through their doors is a tad worrying, but I think that's also one of the reasons why they're not putting a date on the game.
Yeah.
And I think it's smart of them to like hold off on it. And kind of in the same way that GTA 5 was like one of the last big open world games for last gen consoles. I can see them gearing this up to be like the big last gen game that comes out in like 2 years.
Yeah.
But like there's enough people have seen that demo and I haven't heard like a single negative thing about it.
Well, you are still talking about a tailored demo though, and it's from a huge company they've proven to be good at making games. Okay, like I'm not doubting their ability to make games. I just don't know. I just don't want them to bring out an unfinished product. Like, and like I don't think they will. But I think taking that 50-minute gameplay demo and going off it is not enough because one, the general public haven't seen it at all, and I know we trust in these reviewers and stuff. Well, I don't know any of them.
I imagine CD Projekt Red will put out some stuff from that. Like they've already put out like the specs for the PC that we're playing it on.
Yeah.
Like I can imagine, which like companies don't fucking do that. They don't like reveal that what equipment they're using to showcase this stuff. But so like I can see them putting something out in the future. Like they probably have, you know, a substantial marketing plan for this.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely like one of the most consumer-friendly gaming companies by far today. I mean, even just look at their GOG Galaxy like platform.
Yeah,
like you
definitely.
see how consumer pro they are. And even the sale on The Witcher 3 that they've been having, it's like, you know, they definitely wanted to match Bethesda with that, because you know how Bethesda were with like putting their RPGs on sale. Like Skyrim goes on sale for like, you know, £5 now. I know that's a really old game, but even when it was like not that old, you know, I've seen Fallout 4 for like £15, and then CD Projekt Red were like, oh, we'll top that and like put Witcher Game of the Year for like £12 and stuff, like 2 years after release. So
Did you see the other funny thing they did where after the Cyberpunk demo was released on GOG, they said, here's a sale for Cyberpunk games.
Yeah, no, I
Why
did
don't
see
you
that
check
actually.
out
Yeah,
other
I
Cyberpunk
saw
games?
that,
Yeah.
No, they definitely are consumer friendly and know what gamers want, and like they know like how to do it and stuff. But yeah, it's just the more the behind the scenes stuff that I'm worried about. But like I think they're a really cool company. I wasn't a fan of The Witcher. I thought it was an amazing game. I just never got into it. And like this is much more up my alley. So if they release this, I'd be hella excited. I like without any showings. It's like for Starfield for Bethesda. I have no idea. Like obviously there's more on Cyberpunk, but even if this had happened for Starfield, I would still be skeptical.
Why don't we move on to Bethesda since they're the next in?
Yeah.
Oh no, hang on. Square Enix is next, but they fucking showed nothing. So screw it, Bethesda.
Yeah, we're gonna focus on the main ones because we've only got so long for a podcast. But
12 hours. No. So yeah, we have very different opinions on Bethesda.
Yeah, we do. I'm curious to know Aaron's opinion. I don't think we've spoken much to Aaron about Bethesda.
That's your fault of Bethesda showing.
They're showing. Yeah.
Well, see, I've never really been into Skyrim. That's the thing. I've always been a big Fallout fan. Ever since I first played it back in like 2010 or something.
So this was a good conference for you, basically.
No, I don't care too much about 76
cool.
at the moment. Maybe if some more details are released. Like I'm worried they focus too much on multiplayer.
More details. They detailed the game like to the point. And that was like the whole conference was basically.
But will it have a full on story like New Vegas for?
No, they've already confirmed what kind of game it is completely. They've gone into complete detail.
Yeah, it's very much just like I think there is going to be like quote unquote a narrative.
There is story. There is story in quests, and it's revolved around robot. If we're talking about 76, I've got the deets, lads. I've got the deets.
There's our Bethesda expert.
Yeah. I think people getting mad over this not being a single player is just actually
no. I could
gross.
work very well. Like, say for example, one of my favorite games of all time is
Yeah.
Borderlands 2. I've not played the first one, but
Yeah.
if it's like that, where it has a good story, fun quests, and like cool loot you can obtain, then sure, I'll buy it. But if they've like Bethesda's strengths have always been in the fact they can make well-crafted single-player games that can hold you for hours and hours and hours, and people play them to the absolute death.
Okay, I get that, but that would like people saying that and then limiting Bethesda to only making single-player RPGs would be like someone saying when Blizzard back in the day made RTSs like Warcraft, and then saying, "Oh no, Blizzard are releasing an MMO, so like." They're so good at strategy, like, I'm so disappointed. Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, we got a single-player Fallout game just over 3 years ago, which, is quite a long time, but not for a big RPG like that.
Of course.
The past Elder Scrolls game was late 2011. I mean, you guys know how long Skyrim's been out.
So it was, yeah.
If I got a multiplayer co-op multiplayer Elder Scrolls experience, not like MMO, like Elder Scrolls Online, like an actual in the engine, like Fallout 76 is, I would be more than happy. Even as someone who is so invested in the universe, I think it is actually terrible that people get so mad about this, and are so self-centered because it's not the kind of game they want. I just think that's ridiculous.
I could never see them continuously making single-player games until the end of time.
It's not even just that. I think you just shouldn't slander a company for trying something new, especially when it's within the universe you love. I don't know. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, so the thing that puts me off of Fallout 76 isn't that. Sorry, there's a
fun police
siren going. He's talking shit about Fallout. Get him.
Oh shit!
Oh fuck! It's Todd Howard.
I'm not saying
Todd
Howard and Pete.
I'm not saying
Pete
people
Hines in a SWAT van
can't like the game. I just mean that's a dumb reason to me to not like the game.
The reason I'm so there's two reasons I don't feel particularly excited about Fallout 76. The first one is I'm a Fallout 1 and 2 were some of the first games I ever played. So, that series has been in my heart since I was a kid. And Fallout 76 for a bunch of lore reasons is taking it in a different direction, and there's fans who will like that, there are fans who aren't. The reason I'm worried about this game is that I don't think that Fallout 4's gameplay suits multiplayer.
Well, that's why they're changing it completely, though. They rewrote the I can't even remember what it was, but if the no-clip documentary that you sent me, actually.
So that's actually the other thing about the Bethesda conference, that I actually thought was kind of interesting was that I had a lot of questions after watching their conference.
Yeah.
Of like, well, what's the gameplay going to be like? What's this? What's this? And then a separate documentary made by Daniel O'Dwyer and NoClip went into way more detail about the gameplay with interviews with the devs. And I was like, oh shit, okay. And the thing I will say is the stuff about the gameplay in that documentary made me a little less worried. So like they've reworked the combat a bit. They're putting way more of a focus on exploration, which I really like.
I think that could be done very well, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I can see this being a really fun game to play with some friends if you all like turn off the mini map.
Well, I suppose, yeah.
I don't know if there even will be a minimap though. It'll be a compass, like in Bethesda.
There'll be a
games.
compass, but like even just turning that off, like because they were talking in that documentary about how like designing it to be quite a vertical world. It's like there'll be like watchtowers.
Yeah, well, I mean, Fallout
and, like,
4
mountains.
was like that, wasn't it? Everyone, like, one of the big things people said about Fallout 4 was it was the most vertical Fallout game ever. Because, like, if you look at like Fallout 3 and stuff, the buildings are usually just destroyed, and you can only go across the bottom. But in Fallout 4, you know, raiders would be way up above you. Like, there's different like levels of housing and stuff. So they've got what they need.
When I'm talking about verticality, it's not just I don't just mean that in like the gameplay thing. It's more about so much of that world is a forest, so you're meant to feel like lost. You can't really like see very far when you're in the forest or in like a valley. So for you to get a sense of where you are in the wider world, you actually do have to get up high to tell where you're going.
Okay, I get you.
Which is why I think it would be really cool to play with some friends. And like I can see you having arguments of like, "Fuck you, Dave, you took us the wrong way."
I mean that's
it
the
could
whole
be
point.
really fun.
I think what people don't realize is like it's so obvious to me, but maybe like obviously it's just to me and other people take it differently. But they said like the whole point is you come out this vault, you're one of the first people out like into the world after 20 years after everything goes crazy. You're in an untapped part. Well, not untapped, but like, one of the least affected parts of the world by the nukes. So things are still, somewhat human-like. And you're one of the first people to go out. Of course, the first thing, just even put yourself in the shoes of the first people to go out after Fallout. What would they do?
Oh my god, everyone's dead. Oh my god.
Yeah, they'd group together.
Panic.
They would group together and rebuild. That's the whole point. Like
some
they
of them
know
might be
that's their
hostile.
point.
It might be like The Walking Dead.
Exactly. Like
It's
some
like
people might
different
be thinking in the
groups.
back of their head, "Oh, like I'm taking advantage of this because people are fucked up." That's the whole point.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how that's not obvious.
It
to
works.
people.
It works thematically in terms of like grouping up and building. It works on that front.
You don't think of it as Fallout 4 though. Yeah, the gunplay maybe. That has also been said to be in it. I don't know if that'll come out in the final version.
Well, I think you have to think of it in a bit of Fallout 4 because this was originally a multiplayer mode for Fallout 4.
Yeah, but
But they've
they didn't.
spun out,
That's
so-
exactly why they made it a separate game though, because they were thinking of it like that, and then they've made it a separate game so that they can rewrite the systems, like the perk system and the.
They need to
rewrote
anyway
the
because they could
servers
just resell Fallout 4 with multiplayer. Of course, it needs to be
They would have to change a lot.
transformative to the point where people will be excited for it because it's effectively a new product, which they have done. It does look good, and I look forward to the moments where it'll be in a squad of 4 or 5 and we wander into a Deathclaw sanctuary only to be ripped apart.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I can imagine it's going to have lots of really cool moments, but this is the first Bethesda game, maybe in like the last like 10, 15 years, that I can see going one way or the other. Like I can see this, becoming like the next biggest multiplayer game there is.
Well,
Or I can see it
yeah.
like kind of breaking after a while.
From
I
what
don't-
I've
I
seen,
don't
though, it is
see
on a
it-
positive path.
I don't
I
see
think
it
it
being a
looks very
huge game. Yeah, I think it. I mean, I like to think of it positively, and I'm super excited because I love these kind of games. The way I see it as well.
I can see them making a good, like those guys make good games. Like it will probably be a good game, but man,
Yeah.
like there's so much that can go wrong with it.
I see it as so. I really like the idea of survival games. There have been no AAA survival titles ever. I'm pretty sure. Like proper survival titles. There's been like Rust, Ark Survival. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. All those
they
games.
have massive,
Yeah.
Forgot the names of all the other ones because Conan.
There are a dime a dozen though.
Yeah, exactly. They're companies with a vision that don't have enough money to pull it off. It's that simple. Like Rust is a good game, but it's like not because they don't have enough money to yeah, they have like dedicated servers, but they're probably not like properly great. They don't have enough money to have a proper dev team with like solid gameplay, like solid refined gameplay in the engine. That's such an important part. Fallout is building on an engine that's already there on a game that it's like the way I see it. See with all Fortnite, for example, a great example. It has started a sort of trend of taking a game you already own and putting it in a different genre. They took Fortnite and put it in Battle Royale. Paladins, FPS free, think what you want of it, took their game, made it into a Battle Royale, Realm Royale. Both games that run very smoothly, like completely smooth, like Fortnite, and anyone can say whatever they want about it. It runs really fucking smoothly.
There's a reason it has a massive dedicated fan base. No matter, like you can't argue with its player base, because the fact people sit down and give their time to actually play the game is, all the evidence you need.
I just see Fallout, them doing it with Fallout. They're taking it and putting it in survival.
I think there's like a very, very, very big important caveat to all that, which is like not a lot, but every single Bethesda game that has come out for the last few years, their big open worlds have all been janky as fuck.
Yeah, because they're launching that exactly. This gives them time to refine it because they're using something that they're already building
Fallout,
off of.
I mean, you said yourself, like Skyrim came out in 2011, Fallout 4 came out in 2015.
14 was it?
And amongst,
It was 15.
I think it was 15.
Really?
But like even with like those 4 years for them to refine it, they fucking didn't. And like Fallout 4 was like broken for loads of people.
That's because I agree that they rely on modders to fix their game. They have. I'm not defending that in the slightest. I'm really not. And like I want them to, like, to be honest, they have also said that there's going to be mod support for Fallout 76, not at launch because they never have it.
But hopefully they don't sell us broken. I doubt it would be overly broken.
I agree too, and I don't defend that at all. Their launches are bad. Most game launches are, which is pretty upsetting.
Nowadays,
yeah, they are just bad in general, and Bethesda are literally known for that, like having buggy launches, but still having great games, which sucks, and you can't deny that. No, I'm not denying it. But that doesn't mean that Fallout 76 is going to flop or be a bad game or
in fairness, they
not work.
They have gained a lot of experience and money, so they hardly have the excuses. But then again, they re-release Skyrim all the time, and it still has the bugs. It still has many of the same bugs, which they had in 2012. No, 11.
Yep.
Sorry,
I mean, the big problem with them is that they've done single player this whole time, so they have no excuse. If the multiplayer functions in this game have bugs, that is fair enough because it's their first time doing multiplayer. If the single player, if the actual core gameplay has bugs, that is not excusable.
Imagine
I think that's
spending
a fair way to
15 hours or something like in your first few sessions in the game only to drop through the map and like all your stuff.
It's a big fucking map. I'm looking forward to the YouTube compilation of here are the 1,000 places you can fall through the map in this game.
There'll probably be like glitched places to like build your base and stuff to like I don't know kill players and stuff.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, you could like floating sky fortresses.
Oh god, this sounds scary.
We got carried. Well, I got carried away with Fallout 76.
No, that's fair enough. That is like a big game to talk about.
I'm sad though because there was good stuff in Bethesda, in my opinion.
There is stuff in Bethesda that it's like I fucking love Doom, so the idea that they're making a new Doom makes me.
The only reason they didn't show it, the only reason they didn't show it is because they're showing it at QuakeCon, and they always do that.
Yeah. That's totally fine. Like that's their own conference. It makes sense that it goes there.
Yeah.
The one thing that makes me slightly worried is that it's called Doom Eternal, and like Eternal sounds like a multiplayer game.
I doubt it.
It will not be. It will not be solely multiplayer. After how much love Doom 1 got for its single player game.
It was absolutely loved.
It was,
despite like negative press about its box art prior to its releases being generic and stuff. But the game itself...
But Doom got a lot of negative press beforehand because that was the first Bethesda game. That was the game Bethesda decided that they weren't going to give to reviewers. And Bethesda still have that policy of they don't give games to reviewers. They give them to YouTubers instead, pre-release. So like a lot of people were pretty fucking angry about like being cut out of the loop in favor of like, you know, Skooma Dealer 625.
Well, see, I'm on the other side of this because I don't read reviews online at all. I really don't. Like when I've had such a negative view of all these companies, IGN, Kotaku, everyone for my whole time on the internet now, because they've been through so much controversy, like them or not, like where they are now. And I'm not saying everyone has, all these companies, but like even those small ones, like IGN being the biggest one, obviously, all the controversy they've been through has completely shunned all of that sort of stuff for me. And maybe that's me being close-minded, but like I don't need to go there because I have YouTube for that. And that I think these companies are realizing.
It's totally fair.
Yeah.
Like it's just a different way of, you know, reviewing stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, that's what the internet is now. But let's not get into a whole conversation.
We could have a whole podcast on it. Probably.
Yeah. We should next week's episode, the ethics of reviewing.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
But they're just in the pockets of EA. No,
probably are.
Don't fuel the fire. But what else did they have? Yeah, they had Elder Scrolls Online. They came out and basically said, hey, there's expansions that came out last week. They talked a bit about their card game. They spent a very long time on a mobile game.
Yeah, but that's because it's a good mobile game. And like I think writing off mobile games is poor taste. Because, like, mobiles, like, maybe you've not played a great game on your mobile yet, but being realistic, in the next 10 years, mobile gaming is going to be a much bigger thing.
Like
it already is massive, but a lot of the games are just...
I mean, it's going to be, like, it's going to be bigger as in, like, people like us will be playing games on our phone. Let's put it that way.
You can play Fortnite and PUBG on your phone, and they're some of the biggest games around at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Like, but that's something that I do have to tip my hat off to Bethesda, is they recognize cool new ways of playing games. So like they didn't show any of it, but they talked quite a lot about VR. So like Wolfenstein has a new VR game, Prey has a VR game. They've also got Fallout and Skyrim. Like they're embracing new ways to play. Oh shit! They're embracing new ways to play games. But that's the other thing. Fucking new Wolfenstein. Now that's making me excited. A co-op Wolfenstein game set in 1980s Paris is just like, mwah, fucking give me that.
Do you know what I find funny about it? It's somewhat because, like, obviously, main protagonist in normal Wolfenstein can dual wield, right? It's almost like you're both playing one of the guns. So one player is one of the guns and one player is the other gun.
I was actually thinking about that, and I am so looking forward to the situation where like we burst into a room and we're like, oh fuck, there's a lot of Nazis here, and I'm like, don't worry, Joe, I'm gonna dual wield a shotgun, and then like light bulbs go above our heads, and you go, I'm also going to dual wield shotguns.
It's I don't know, it's
like
good.
That's gonna fucking kick ass, like completely, absolutely. But yeah, aside from Rage 2, are any of us excited?
Rage 2 is weird. So obviously, like, no one's excited because the first game sucked big time. I think it'll be a game that is actually pretty good. Like, it'll be a good game, but just no one will care about it, which is kind of sad. But I don't think it'll be like amazing, but like it'll be good, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, no, totally. I can see them like really having to push the marketing in order to sell it.
Yeah.
The thing that so I didn't get like a hint of this when seeing the gameplay that they were showing.
The gameplay was pretty poor. I was actually thinking that, not because the gameplay was bad, just how they showed it.
Yeah, it doesn't play well. Not as a game, but like visually as something to watch.
The trailer was just not.
But the thing that actually made me go, oh okay, maybe this game could be kind of cool, is Bethesda are getting each of their studios to work on different portions of it.
That could be very messy.
It could be messy, but from the descriptions of people who had played the hands-on demo, the best description I heard of it was from Polygon, and they said it plays like a mixtape of Bethesda games. So it's got like the open world of a Fallout or an Elder Scrolls game. It has the shooting and movement of Doom, and it has like the driving and car combat of Avalanche with their Mad Max game.
Yeah.
And like that's a super cool mix. and if they can pull that off,
Yeah,
I think it could be.
yeah, that was the whole idea behind it, because obviously the first Rage game, like the parts where id fell short were like the RPG elements, and then most of it, but I think the shooting was was okay. And obviously it did Doom, and everyone was, oh, the combat in this is amazing, and it's like, so yeah, Bethesda are sat there like, oh, well, Rage 2 combat, bam, id. Mad Max, the best part of that, the driving, bam, give it to Avalanche. Literally, like that sort of thing. And then RPG elements, like, oh, Fallout, easy, bam. And then you've just got a finished product. Yeah, like, I don't think it will be messy, though, because, like, they're obviously not just gonna... It's not like a slap it all together. Like, they're working together on it. They're not like...
Rage 2
Separate.
could be the game that Kingdom Hearts should be.
Oh,
What?
my. You have like aerial. Oh god.
You
God knows
just
what on the
smash
box
together all these, like, it's all these different things put together, but with actual, like, care.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, maybe you're right. Yeah.
I
get
don't
you
know.
now.
Kingdom Hearts 3 does look good. It's just the writing. for
Kingdom
me.
Hearts 3 looks like fucking wank out.
I don't
It does
think
look
so.
pretty wank.
It looks like a jumbo
It
of
looks so
horse
pretty.
shit.
That's what the games are, though. It's just skipping from world to world, being like, "Oh wow, it's my favorite Disney character."
Mm.
Ironically,
Yeah.
I don't really care about most of the original characters in the series. It's just a case of like, "Oh wow, I can fight alongside Mulan," and there's cool music playing in the background. Fuck yeah!
Yeah.
It's-
As someone who's, it's hard for me to judge because I'm not a huge fan of Disney. Like, I didn't really get brought up with it and stuff, so I don't know. I'm not like crazy
That's for me.
happy on it, but yeah, the gameplay to me just looks boring. I don't know, like but like that's just again, like I'm keeping an open mind about it. It might be a good game, but like because I just don't play those kind of games, so it's
Yeah.
like not
Generally,
appealing
I think
to
the
me.
gameplay is good.
Yeah.
At least in the second game, it's pretty good.
I mean, it's a weird one because like Kingdom Hearts is held so high and it's so nostalgic to so many people, but then some people said no, it was just bad, and like back in the day, yeah, there was probably just nothing better. So I don't know how that sort of game would hold up today. That's not my opinion, by the way. I'm just speaking on
Of
behalf
course.
of other people's opinions that
There's
I've heard
a
in
lot
the
of
past.
stuff that
but-
doesn't hold up today.
Exactly, yeah.
However,
So
it's like definitely some of the writing and things like that. I'm not going to dissect the whole series and the story. Don't even get me
Yeah.
started on that. It doesn't even have a clear cut story.
yeah,
You can't play 1, 2, and then go into 3 and like have a
Expect-
cohesive
yeah.
story. It's
Uh-huh,
ridiculous. You have to play like
Uh-huh.
6 side games over different consoles in between, including the DS, the PSP. It's stupid. Or the Vita. I can't remember. But,
yeah, I get you.
but hey, fingers crossed.
Does anyone have anything else to say on Bethesda?
I'll
we wish you luck.
I'll give like a couple of lines on each thing, just a couple.
Go.
And
Yeah.
I can't go. So Prey, really cool. The stuff I know you loved Prey, but you're not that excited about the new stuff, and that's
Yeah, I wanted story stuff.
Yeah.
I'm still going to get the DLC because it does actually sound kind of cool.
they're obviously supporting it, so I think you will get story stuff. Maybe not, well, not
Yes.
now, but and
Aw.
I think that they added replayability stuff first, which makes sense to me because then that keeps the game relevant, so that when they do release story stuff next, people
Yeah,
will still.
I'm
be playing
hoping
it.
this is their like raise money kind of initiative.
It could be, and it looks cool to me. Like to me, both those game modes are like, oh hell yeah! Like I like that sort of roguelike thing. Anyway, what else? Elder Scrolls Blades. I thought that looked really cool. I want to get my hands on it as soon as I can. It's free.
Oh yeah, they're
Uh,
mobile.
They
Forgot
said they
about
don't
that.
want to do the time pay for time bullshit. They said that you can buy
Yes.
like loot boxes and stuff. I mean, expected when it comes to phone games. Literally every phone game's gonna have that, so I don't really care. I like building towns and stuff. That's always cool. Starfield, obviously, yeah. I mean, obviously, like, I wasn't thrilled or anything about it. I was just like, it was almost like oh cool, they are working on it. Like that's all I wanted. That's all I needed. I mean, yeah, I would have liked to see something. Don't get me wrong. But like Fallout 76 was their main thing, and that's what they're releasing. And in classic Bethesda, I think they will show Starfield next year and release it in November. I think that they just don't like. Imagine if they released Fallout 76 and Starfield in November. That just wouldn't work at all.
No.
So, and Bethesda. I don't think Bethesda will ever announce a release date for a game that's coming out the year after. I just don't think they'll do it ever. So. I think there will be more on Starfield next year, definitely, with the date, I think, and then
I hope there
yeah,
is.
I hope there is too, and I think there will be.
They have Star Fox in it.
Wait, what?
No, they don't.
No, I'm thinking of something else, aren't I?
You are, yeah.
No, that's
Yes.
fucking. Oh no, that's Nintendo's thing, isn't it?
Bethesda, beloved makers of Star
Fox.
Fox, the classic
I think
Nintendo
that-
64
I
game.
think Link is actually coming in Fallout 76. Correct me if I'm
He
wrong.
probably is with
Link is in Skyrim
he
if you put the amiibo in the Switch.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Anyway, Elder Scrolls 6, the final one. Obviously, I got excited, but I obviously was like, yeah, I knew this was far off. But even that, right, gives us so much. Like, that trailer alone can tell us the location of the next game, and that is enough for me right now. Like, that's more like them saying it's quite far off.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, cool.
The location is like the biggest part of those games that matters.
Exactly.
So
yeah, and like there's so much, there's enough in there that, you know, people have nailed it down to basically like 2 locations. I won't go into that, but it's really cool, and that's all I needed, because I knew it was really far off. And I'm one of the people that says, you know, like, even if it takes another like 5 years, if the game blows me out of the water because they go to next lengths to make it like something I've never played before, I'm totally up for that. So
if they want to take their time developing it,
it's like Cyberpunk.
That's obviously a good.
'Cause,
like it's thing. It's the same
Yeah.
situation as Cyberpunk. Like, take your time making it.
Yeah.
I want this thing to be fucking
Yeah,
brilliant.
exactly. Like the trailer for Cyberpunk 2012. We're in 2018 now, and they're like, we've got all
Yeah.
this stuff, but you know, like, we still don't have a date because we're pumping this, and that's why Cyberpunk is going to be such a amazing game. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Because you know they're really trying to make it something that's not been done before, and I think that's what Elder Scrolls 6 is going for as well. They said that as well, so I'm willing to wait. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
In short.
I'm actually like, I'm way more excited in Starfield. I think.
Yeah, because I think that's more up your alley, right?
Sorry, I was thinking of Starlink.
And it's a new
That's what
IP.
it is.
New IPs are exciting.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the new. It's not so much that it's more my thing, because like I love the Elder Scrolls games, but it's I want to see Bethesda
Do
like
space.
take that formula in like a different. Yeah, basically, I want to see them like try something totally wild and different.
I agree. I'm also.
But yeah, I just hope this doesn't become the thing where like every conference for like, oh yeah, Starfield, we'll tell you more in a bit.
Yeah, no,
Like,
they
I hope
they already said
I hope
that,
it doesn't do that.
they only did those announcements to settle people, and they're not. It's not
Yeah.
a habit they want to start, and they've never done it before. So
Yeah, like they need to like shut people the fuck up and be like, just let us work on
yeah,
this. It's
no,
cool.
some
Like, we're
people
doing
with the
this.
Elder Scrolls 6, like, they'd show a trailer and they're like, this isn't the Elder Scrolls 6. Like, it's actually ridiculous how, like, I love the Elder Scrolls, but, like, come on, like, don't be like that. It just, I don't know,
Yeah.
it hurts my brain.
Some Bethesda fans are pretty awful.
Yeah, they are. I mean, most fans of everything you will find are pretty awful when they don't get what they want, anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Just the internet. And just live
Yeah.
stream chats are terrible, because it's like,
Oh,
someone
yeah, fuck
starts
those.
saying something and then they all just join in, and it's just like a big shouting rant of like complaining, and yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, we should move on. The next big thing is Sony, but just very quickly before. Oh no, was
PC
it actually?
games. Should we go over that quickly?
Yeah, but PC games and Ubisoft very quickly before. So PC games is actually worth noting because it had like a really charming conference. Like, it was just like quite nice. And every game they showed off, they had a developer come out on stage and talk about it, which was really nice.
My style.
Yeah. It was like quite funny at times, which was also quite sweet. And it had like a really nice showing of indie games.
Yeah, which
Oh,
makes
yeah.
complete
Like
sense why it was quite funny and lighthearted and stuff. It just all adds up.
Yeah, definitely.
I like it.
Yeah, but it didn't feel quite as corporate. But yeah, like they showed off, you know, same, like, because PC games are so like varied compared to console games, there was definitely like a much wider variety of stuff. Very quickly, like the games that caught my eye were like Satisfactory, which is a 4-player co-op, basically Factorio.
Yeah.
Which
3D
I'm
Factorio.
super on board. Yeah, 3D Factorio in first person with 4 people.
Yeah.
They've covered all the numbers.
Put it this way, it's one of those games you have like one of those multi-tools that you can just do like everything with. By the looks of it, it sucks things up, it places things, it tickles things.
And I am on board with that completely and absolutely.
The trailer was amazing. It really was.
Oh, the trailer's so good. The music is fucking great.
It was everything.
I've been listening to that music like pretty solidly.
That's good.
Just bouncing around my flat.
Ooblets as well. There's been stuff on that in the past. I like
Ooblets. Looks so cute.
It does. It's charming. Just like the showcase. It all just came together.
Ooblets is like the cutest looking game. Sable has like a really awesome art style, but I don't really know what that game is. And new Hitman, and I'm super excited for Hitman 2. Especially because they understand what people love about that game, since they have a montage of this deadly assassin throwing random objects at people.
Yeah, they know the comedic effect as well.
Yeah. Anything else from the gaming show?
Not off the top of my head.
Last of Us was
How was that Sony?
That's so fucking hell, Aaron.
You need to keep up.
Sorry.
You need to keep up. That was Sony.
Oh wait, who are we on now? Sorry.
PC game.
Oh fuck,
PC
sorry.
gaming.
Is there any other notable indie games?
Not like
there were a few things like Sable and Sable, Tunic, Satisfactory, Theme Hospital 2.
I've been playing
Theme Hospital 2 as well.
Like Neocab, and Neocab looks really cool, and so does Night Call. Neocab is funnily enough another cyberpunk game set in Paris, where you play the last human taxi driver. Everything else has been taken over by like automated cars.
Oh, cool.
And it seems like a cool like thriller adventure game. And it's just got like a really neat art style to it as well. I think it's only made by like 4 people as well, which is always nice to hear.
The hard work and dedication into the niche game, you got respect.
Yeah, definitely.
Are we doing Ubisoft?
Yeah.
Did we skip Ubisoft?
I think we should very quickly go over
Okay.
them.
Beyond Good and Evil 2, just cinematic, but man, that game looks crazy. It looks crazy.
I fucking love the look of it.
The pig
There was
man.
something that came up about it recently, like problem-wise. I can't remember what it was.
So what happened was they had what I think is a really nice idea, but it's backfired, which is they're collaborating with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the actor, who has a company called Hit Record, which is a really, really, really cool company. They are basically a platform for artists and musicians and actors and directors. It's like a creative hub. Like if you work in creative industries or want to work there, like you're an amateur, you go to Hit Record, and they're basically almost like a LinkedIn type service, where they hook you up with people around the world so you can collaborate on stuff. And you can then, through Hit Record, submit it to projects. And so Ubisoft are teaming up with them because they want the community to design like art and music and stuff that can be found in the game, to tailor fit that world. But they didn't properly explain how people were going to get paid for it. And so Joseph Gordon-Levitt had to then very quickly, after he came off stage, go and do like a quick video to Twitter saying, I fucked up, I didn't explain it. We pay you. We compensate you for your work.
Yeah, they thought they were just scrounging off them.
It's not like a Valve game or something where you just make it and then they sell it and make all the money.
No.
I'm kidding.
Valve do pay people that make skins and stuff for Counter-Strike. They get a lot of money from that, actually.
Yeah, but like they didn't properly explain it. But then the thing after that, which pissed off a lot of people in the games industry, was like artists and musicians and people who do like lots of contract work and lead work for video games are paid really fucking poorly. And for you to then and like there's a whole backlash a couple of years ago where like people started to form unions because like, I mean, Bethesda were guilty of this. They were like paying people who recorded lines of dialogue in Fallout like £500, and those people didn't know they were working on Fallout because it was a secret project at the time. And then that game comes out, makes like 13, 14, 15, $60 million, and they're like, you fucking paid me £500 to be in one of the biggest games ever.
Well, how much are they saying? How much are they doing? Like, realistic.
Well, it's things like they're just not telling people what project it is they're working on.
Yeah, but still, it's like if it depends, like how skilled you have to be at the like how much they're expecting from you as a voice actor.
So, who's the guy in Fallout 4 who kills your wife at the beginning?
Kellogg.
Yeah, him. He got paid £500 to be in that game,
Fucking
and he's like
in Fallout 4. Jesus Christ!
Yeah, and he's like a central.
I thought you were
character
meaning like maybe
in that
Fallout
game.
3, maybe back in
No,
2007.
Fallout 4.
Jesus
But like it's not just Bethesda. Like, there's loads of companies do that. So the main backlash was from people against Ubisoft, basically saying this is one of your biggest games, and you're basically like not hiring professionals to do this who need the work, but then you're also not paying. You're asking like the community to do the work for you.
That's artists, right? Not voice stuff, or is it both?
It's like artists, musicians, graphics designers. It's like people who are designing stuff to like fill in the world.
Yeah,
but then
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I still see that.
But then, like those people won't get paid the same money they would have if they were actually like working on the team.
Yeah.
So it's basically a way for them to like cut costs, which is where the backlash comes in.
It's also I get it is a good idea though, because it's like almost the players have influence on the world. Like,
yeah,
obviously
like,
they're not getting it as much though. Like them expecting as much is weird to me because they are still amateur, and Ubisoft know that. I'm not saying that everyone that does it will be amateur. Like some people will be really good, but if you're really good, you don't have to do it. Like that's the point. Like you don't have to do it. They're not saying like. These people that take up a job, they have to do it. Ubisoft are saying people can volunteer, and they still get paid. So it's voluntary paid work. Like, if you're expecting someone's salary that does it to live, and I get, like, yeah, people aren't getting jobs, but Ubisoft will have in-house artists and stuff. It's not like, you know, they're just going to cut their salaries and say, oh, our fans are doing it, so we're cutting you. It's like they're going to need those artists for other projects. Like, I don't know.
Well, that's also kind of one of the reasons for backlash is like, if this is successful, like how many other games are gonna go down this route? And like, I can see it in a few years creating a problem where you just have like a lot of games getting outsourced, and people not like getting the credit they deserve for it. Okay. I think if they properly make a good job of like highlighting the people from the community who work on it, I can see it being okay. Like, it would be amazing if that opened doors for those people.
I mean, I'm sure
and
it would.
Then it would be amazing if it did. And like, it's a shame because I think Hit Record are a company who do have like a really good track record with this stuff. They just like portrayed it in a very like poor way.
No, that does happen, unfortunately.
But yeah, we should talk about some other Ubisoft stuff. I think they have the most fun at the press conferences. Like
weird,
like
really
very weird. But yeah, you can definitely tell from watching their stage show that they're like, let's just have some fucking fun.
Yeah,
like, yeah, let's just open with a dance number. And then what if we brought out composers of Donkey Kong to play a set? What if we had a guy ride in on a motorbike and then like crash into his
Some
podium?
people hate that though.
I love
oh
it.
yeah, some people hate it, but like
it.
they are definitely having fun. That's what the point.
I thought the motorcycle guy though was pretty funny though, to be honest.
Yeah, like I always look forward to Ubisoft because they're like you can just tell there's somebody being like fuck it, man, let's do this.
Let's do it.
Like taking just like taking a line of coke and going, look at these fucking great costumes I found across the road. Let's just fucking put them on and dance.
Trials Rising. Trials, a lot of people, it's one of those kind of more niche games where like it's got a good following. I'm not a fan of the series, but I know that a lot of people really like Trials, and there's not been a new one for a while, so
yeah, my brother was cool. A big fan.
Yeah, it's cool for them to do that.
Skull and Bones we should probably talk about, because you know that was
am super looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I love Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
Black
the amount
Flag,
of love that game got for its ship combat. So like,
might be a better Sea of Thieves. A lot of people are saying.
Again, see, look, it's a company doing it. They've taken
very different.
They've taken like an idea or like an engine thing that they've had and made it into a different game. That's what I see this as. They've taken something that was loved and seen as really successful, Assassin's Creed Black Flag ship combat, and made a game out of it. It's almost like, you know, what Fortnite did, going back to that. Maybe not as drastic, but like, I don't know. I think that's becoming a lot more common.
It's almost like they're like spinning off a main component.
Yeah.
Of it. which I'm totally on board for.
Yeah, I think it'll work.
I hope that they handle it better than they did for Honor.
Yeah, it's all about the
Isn't that
monetization
getting
scheme.
DLC as well? Sorry.
Yes, For Honor's getting a big new DLC thing, which actually sounds kind of neat. But that game is still kind of fucked. So
Yeah, Ubisoft need to sort out their monetization schemes because it's not the best.
Yeah. It's pretty. They're like one game away from being EA. I think.
Yeah.
But like, you know, they still make some interesting-ish stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've fallen quite a bit though. Like
I of like the other like main publishers, I think they have a more interesting kind of
Compared
lineup.
to EA and Activision, I think they're doing all right actually.
Yeah, like you can tell that there's a bunch of Ubisoft games that like have heart.
oh yeah, definitely. There are still those trickles of hope. And amongst the big kind of brash games that they're selling for like 50 quid in the half season passes.
Yeah, there's like the two sides to Ubisoft. There's the side who make like Far Cry 5 and
Assassin's
like
Creed.
The Division, and yeah, and then like the side who make like Mario and Rabbids.
Yeah.
Are like a bit crazy. But I'm actually speaking of Assassin's Creed, I'm way on board with the new Assassin's Creed.
I've not seen it.
Odyssey.
There was a funny thing where
Odyssey.
like people were saying like, why are they showing a trailing mission at the E3 trailer or whatever? Because they showed like you walking next to someone at like a really slow speed.
Yeah, it was quite funny.
Yeah.
A really good thing about that though was you were like walking and the character was walking and talking to him, and then some guards spotted him, and he basically just went like, "Fuck this!" Like,
Just gunned it away.
like just darted off, and like you also had to run away.
Mm.
But yeah, it's a new Assassin's Creed game set in ancient Greece, which is just like a
Good
beautiful setting
yeah.
for that game, and they are leaning way more into the RPG
the
elements of it.
the fighting, the combat stuff.
Yeah, it's like there's like multiple dialogue options. You can dictate which way the story goes. There's some like narrative decisions. There's reasonably in-depth character customization.
The big thing that went really badly with the last Assassin's Creed was the really terrible side quests and how they were important to the, like, you had to do them if you wanted to have fun, or you could pay for the resources, which is just really dumb. Let's avoid that in this one, hopefully. Like, there's no way for us to know what the side quests are like, which is kind of sad, because they could be like that again, and we just have no idea. So
I'm hoping that they refine they refine everything. But you know, like,
it's a fast release. That's the issue. Like, it's come out soon.
They tried
Compared
to.
to-
It's still an annual series, isn't it?
they took a break before releasing
Origins.
the last one, which was like a complete revamp of a lot of the core parts of Assassin's
Yeah,
Creed.
the combat was completely different.
Yeah, like completely reworked combat, way bigger environments, more onus on like exploration, all that kind of stuff. They're making enough iterations and changes with Odyssey to make me think that this isn't just going to be churning out the same game.
Okay, that's cool.
I have my doubts. Not just because it's Ubisoft and the last one wasn't brilliant, but just because, you know, they try to push it almost like an annual thing, and it's
there's a fatigue. Yeah.
like how transformative, how interesting can you make it? Like, if you really focus on some of the RPG stuff, sure, but I personally am not too interested. I know there's many others, but
Yeah, like I think the reason I'm most excited about this one is like I'm just a massive sucker for ancient Greece, and like have been since I was like 4. So yeah, I'm on board with that stuff.
But knowing them, they'll probably just use it as a backdrop, just
We'll
to
see.
stab people in the gullets.
We'll see.
Oh yeah, and like that's always fun.
Of course,
I love stabbing people in the gullets.
Anyway,
Speaking of stabbing people in the gullets, Sony
are we doing Nintendo?
started off
by the way, are we doing Nintendo last, or are we doing them Sony last?
Nintendo were last,
We'll do
so
them
yeah,
last,
we should
okay.
do them last.
Cool.
But yeah, Sony had what I thought was a really cool idea for a press conference that didn't quite work.
They moved people.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
I remember
yeah.
people getting fed up about that.
Yeah, people got annoyed with it because it took way too long to move from room to room.
Yeah, there's
But,
a lot
I
of
think
people.
it's a cool idea to, yeah, which is a shame for them. But I think it's a cool idea to have like your press conference areas themed around individual games. Like I think that's a
Yeah,
neat
it's just
idea.
not very realistic.
It just didn't go
unfortunately.
well at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, they
Until we
yeah,
have
didn't plan it.
teleportation.
They had like a 15-minute long pause while they moved people
Mass
through
skill
from place to place.
teleportation.
Something's quite funny about that. I can just imagining people picking up their coats and jackets and what have you, and then getting like really fed up. Just
Yeah,
like
having
being
to
like,
be
okay,
funneled through.
yeah.
Yeah, people got really pissed off by it. But the other thing Sony did, which we were talking about a bit earlier with Microsoft and Bethesda, which I really love, is they said, like, fuck it, we're just going to focus our press conference around our 4 big exclusive titles.
Yeah.
And I found that really refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they were all timed really well. So, like, The Last of Us had that really beautiful opening cinematic with Ellie dancing and kissing her love interest, who's another woman. I thought that was like a really sweet and like really well directed thing.
Well, I suppose that's very appropriate for The Last of Us, being it's all about the humanity and surviving in this cruel, cruel world where people are fucked all the time by, mushroom-headed zombies. So,
Yes,
and bad people.
Best zombies
Yes.
ever. But yeah, like and then they showed off their extended gameplay, which is really fucking violent.
Yeah, looks
and
good.
like gross at points.
Very realistic though, like banging into shit
Incredibly realistic.
and everything.
Yeah, like there's a part where Ellie like dodges and like bashes into her car in a way that looks like it should be in a cutscene, and like oh man, like they've really gone for it with like, just like the grim tone of this in a way that makes me feel like this game is going to be like rough as hell, but in a way that's like horrifying and quite exciting to see through to the end. It's like, yeah, I am 100% on board with that game.
They're great at merging set pieces with you playing the game, like, sort of thing. And like it almost is like, because they design the level knowing exactly like how the player is going to play it, but like they make it seem like you're making those decisions still, and that's not something that's
like
easy
you
to do.
you run up to a pile of bricks, you chuck one, then you go down this hallway, but that's what they're
Exactly.
intending
It's
you
like and they make the small level feel not so small, sort of thing as well, because you are in a very small space, but they do a very good job.
They give you
the illusion of
they
free
give you, like,
choice.
enough options.
Yeah, pretty much.
Good old BioShock. But yeah, like I think that game looks fucking spectacular.
Yeah, it does, and it's gonna sell incredibly because it's The Last of Us, and people love that.
Yeah. What did Sony show after that? Oh, Ghost of
Tsushima.
after that, a man came on stage to play a flute, which was nice. And yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, which looks fucking
More
beautiful.
samurai stuff.
More samurai, but like, man, that game looks just like visually.
I mean, that's what
Like,
Sony go
absolutely
for, isn't
gorgeous.
it? Sony are really pushing this, like, our console can look amazing and develop games, like, more linear, like they say, they want to push the linear story games. They had a big thing about that, poking
Ghost
fun
of
at EA.
Tsushima is open world.
Okay, I didn't know that. But they are doing that, though, right? I mean, they definitely are, with The Last of Us, God of War,
Yeah, definitely was like
Uncharted,
The Last of Us
stuff like
and
that.
stuff like
Sony
that.
has a lot of really good
I mean,
exclusives, which is weird.
Yeah, that's why they've won the
so-
console generation. It's
But they
definitely
didn't do
why.
well at E3, which is kind of like, despite having good games, it always kind of bugged me.
Yeah,
Well,
I
just
think
since-
they didn't do bad at E3. They just didn't have anything too.
They were
it was
going
just
for something
expected.
very different.
I think all the reveals though, like based on reveals, everything was just expected. Nothing like really
Yeah.
Yeah, fair
blew
enough,
anyone
but,
away.
It was all expected, but I mean, they literally announced it beforehand, like what they were going to show, because like everything was leaking beforehand. But I think it's very good of them to get out there and say, here are extended looks at several
they did
games,
good
including games
gameplay,
which need them.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ghost of Tsushima, like nobody
Knew what it was.
there'd been like one trailer
Yeah.
for it last year, and a lot of the expectation going in was this was just going to be like a kind of normal action game. And for it to come out and like look like a Japanese painting and to have like the tone of an Akira Kurosawa film,
Oh yeah, it looks so cool, dude. Like
it unbelievably cool.
the
And, like,
music
the
as
combat,
well, and the environment.
was
It's the
fucking
environment, I think. Like, yeah, it's a good looking game, but it's that environment. It's like the atmosphere of the world.
Yes.
It's like,
like if
oh my god.
if you want to see something beautiful, the opening parts of that trailer where a guy just rides a horse through a wheat field
Yeah,
is
I know.
like, that is the fucking most beautiful looking wheat field.
Can we all just appreciate where games are in such a horrible place right now because they're so amazing and they're expanding so much, but then there's this corporate looming over it, and we're just every day we're like fighting back the corporate and like trying to like keep it as like, you know, not corporate as possible. But like we're in such an amazing time like where games just look so good, like that you really can like go to another world, which is
You
also
say
worrying
that,
in
which
itself.
is definitely true. However, I've found I've taken more refuge with like single player little indie titles, which cost like £5, and I've been playing less and less like big massive games, which is
I
weird.
think that's just you changing though, which is
Probably,
you know,
yeah.
fine.
It's,
That's
I'm
fine.
kind of going into my shell.
It's not a shell.
No,
it's
no.
just a different-
Like those little indie games are where you go for like the heart and soul a
Yeah.
lot of the time.
Maybe it's just because of
But, like-
some companies like EA and the odd one. Like I buy a
It's
game
just-
and then realize, oh wait, fucking season pass, fucking microtransactions.
It's just lighthearted as well.
yeah.
Like a lot of these AAA games are very serious, and
Oh yeah,
have
zombie
serious
action
themes.
open world adventure with
Yeah.
crafting and base building, and then you play like Hollow Knight. And it's like, oh, I can kill
Yeah,
this
I
guy
know.
and fight a boss and
Yeah,
do a
it's-
boss rush.
The best thing is there's like something for everyone, you know. Like Ghost of Tsushima, like if you even just looking at like the color palette, it's very serious. You can tell it's not a lighthearted game in the
It
slightest.
does look very
No.
good. There's
Yeah,
plenty
it's
of
just
that.
that style, you know.
Yeah, it looks like fucking hell, man. Like the cinematography during this like samurai duel at underneath like this like tree with red leaves at sunset. Like
That
oh
would,
my
yeah,
god,
it looks really realistic as well. It's not like I don't know, slash open motion blur, turn around and instantly cut off the heads of the
motion
two
blur
other
needs
guys.
to leave.
Yeah.
We need to show the
that
motion
was-
blur the door. As someone who actually doesn't
No,
mind motion blur in most cases, in games like Ghost of Tsushima or Uncharted, it needs to just leave. Get the motion blur.
yeah,
right.
it gives it that cinematic flair.
Yeah.
Movies are trying to become games are trying to become
Wait,
movies,
wait,
not
yeah,
the other way
wrong
around.
way around.
Oh, maybe, you never know. There might be like an interactive,
Yeah.
God knows what.
Motion blurring cutscenes, yeah, sure, but when you're like fighting off like 4 dudes, like I want to see all the deeds. I don't want to see
Yeah.
blur. Like,
What if there's like blur on the weapon as you swing it?
I guess. No, I don't know. I just want that clear image of me absolutely, you know,
Wrecking
chopping
them,
people up.
cutting the
Yeah.
giblets off.
I don't need blur in
And-
that to make it feel epic. I'm literally cutting guys up with my samurai sword. Like, I don't know.
Cutting guys up with a samurai sword. So that's something else about Ghost of
Yeah.
Tsushima, which made me quite excited. Is during the combat, the character was like stance switching,
Yeah, that's
which
very important.
like it
in
looks like
samurai
the
stuff.
combat is like very fighting game ish, where like you have or like for honor,
It's not
like you
button
have to
mash.
choose your position and attack.
Yeah.
Which I'm on board.
We're an hour and
Yeah, we
30,
should keep
40
going. We
minutes
gotta
into
pump this up.
Wow.
Don't worry, we've only got like
A little bit.
like 2 other things to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, after Ghost of Tsushima, they come out with Death Stranding,
Oh,
which
Death Stranding.
I'm very excited about.
It's still a
Looks very
mystery.
linear, but interesting.
Wait, wait? What do you mean looks?
No,
linear?
as in like no, not as in linear. Sorry, I chose my words very wrong there. It wasn't what I was expecting. Like a lot of people were
Of course, it wasn't.
like
It was-
carrying
it's
around
Hideo
babies.
Kojima.
So
Yeah,
it kind of reminded me of The Last
I
of Us.
think-
The whole
yeah.
the section with the invisible guys. Like you're kind of crawling around and stuff. You go outside and then suddenly.
I mean, yeah. It's,
Fucked.
I mean, I think it looks fucking crazy and weird.
I like the
and
look of it though.
I'm looking
I
forward to
think
it.
I think that because it's Hideo, that he wants to keep things a surprise still. I think he's only showed
Yes.
the world. I don't think he's showed like half the gameplay. Like there is a lot more to this game. I think that we're just not.
I
getting
think
to
you're
see.
probably right. Like, say for example, I thought the whole game was just going to be walking around this big, impressive wasteland, climbing up
I'd
rocks,
be happy with
and
that.
then
I
then
think it
go
does
into a
need more
warehouse.
than that. I think if it is just walking, it's going to get a lot of backlash. But I don't think it is. I think they've just
The
shown
the
that.
the vibe I got was like Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, I think
With, like,
I could see that. Yeah.
Like, you know, this big ominous landscape you don't really understand. First time I've seen it, you're like a delivery man, and something has very clearly gone wrong in the world.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and various like invisible monsters which make time move really quickly, no matter what they're near. Aside from that, I don't really know much about what the game is.
It's very odd and
aren't explaining it.
experimental. I could see it ending on a weird note as well. Like
Oh
you
yeah,
you play through the whole thing and you still don't know what's going on.
It'll be like The Shining.
So the other
You have to go through it multiple times.
Yes.
to fully appreciate it. What's
So
going on.
there was actually another film that it reminds me of a lot. Andrei Tarkovsky, his films like Andrei Rublev or Stalker, it has like a really similar vibe to those. That makes me very excited. Aside from that, there's not really much we can say about it because we don't really know much
I
about
think
it.
I definitely
Oh,
think that combat will be more of a key component because the gun that gets
Yeah.
shown is a big rifle. It's not like
It's a big
small
rifle.
pistol or something. Like he pulls out this like yell, like cool rifle, Borderlands looking rifle like thing that like like folds out. So it's obviously futuristic. There's gonna be like laser
Death
rifles
Stranding.
and stuff. Yeah,
It's like a very quick shot
I
in the
I
trailer.
Which
must
makes
not
me
be paying
think that-
attention.
it makes me think that he's definitely just not showing us that stuff.
Yeah,
on
like
purpose.
you're gonna get up to some dirt in that game. Like there's a shot where you were like transporting a body across like a wasteland. Like you're gonna get up to some fucking dirt in that game.
Yeah.
It might be filled. It
so
might just be
yeah.
one of those games that's filled with random encounters. That'd be kind of cool.
It'd be really cool if you like, say for example, you have to get to a destination and you camp out like every few hours or so.
I think
and
that will be a
during
thing.
your,
It seems like in the trailer he's camping out.
Yeah.
Fairly
and,
often.
Yeah, it looks like resource management
Yeah.
and like survival aspects
Yeah.
are going to be
Mm.
part of it.
and
And yeah, like if they can pull all this stuff together, I'll be very excited
It'll
for it.
definitely
imagine
be
the
unique, which is
random
cool.
events that could occur, like you're camping out in like maybe the middle of a field or something, and then
Yeah, you
you
get put
just
in a
notice that
situation.
there's something beside you, and maybe you need to take
Yeah.
steps to
Yeah.
fucking
And since
get
there's a
out there.
respawn thing in the game, it could be like if you're on a delivery and something that you wake up in the night and you die to this thing, you actually fail a delivery because there's a respawn thing in the what seems to be a respawn thing, and we'd like to theorize in the game he can like respawn himself. Maybe you could actually fail deliveries. That would be pretty
So
cool, I think.
I heard a theory about this, which makes me very excited that we're going to experience some grade A Hideo Kojima bullshit in this game.
But it's certainly unique.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, certainly unique. But so the baby that Norman Reedus is carrying around in a jar.
Yeah.
The theory.
You should watch the trailer, by
I-
the way, if you haven't seen it. Anyway.
You should, dear listener, because you should watch all the trailers for Death Stranding because it's a crazy thing. But the theory that I heard was that because the monsters speed up time around whatever they're close to, the baby you're carrying is actually a clone of you.
Oh, so if you die or something, then
Yeah, so that when the monsters get you and time speeds
Norman
up,
Reedus
you
2.0.
like become old and yeah, you'll be like Norman Reedus 2.0, and the baby grows up to be you,
Ah.
and then you continue with your delivery.
that sounds
job.
really fucking cool, but weird.
How many babies
Like-
are we rolling here? Like, you got one in there, you got two. Like, how many lives we got now? I'm joking.
How many fucking babies does that guy have? Is there like 6 of them in that jar?
Nah.
So my assumption is that like every time you grow, this sounds weird. You grow back up, you like clone yourself again.
Yeah, no, I think so.
To, like get
So
ready
there's
to go.
like a baby comes out the fluid, or maybe you put something in the
Mm.
fluid and that becomes a baby.
Yeah,
Over the
like
course of a few
I can
hours.
see them just being like needing to constantly like copy babies.
Imagine
and
if it's
just,
like a baby
gonna- it's
management
gonna be a weird game.
simulator. Like game over if you run out of babies.
That's the mobile app tie-in they're gonna make.
You have to wait
this.
24 hours for like a full baby to respawn, or you can buy them with gems.
Mm.
Yeah, sure. Fuck it. Like, why not?
No, I was
Hideo Kojima
joking.
can
I don't
make-
want it to be a microtransactions
No,
based
but no,
game.
like, here's the thing. Like, it's a Hideo Kojima game. It could be that. We have no idea what the fuck it could be. So, like, yeah, I'm willing for him to just throw everything at this and make it as weird as possible.
I really want it to be a baby
Okay.
management game now.
Anyway,
That'd be great.
Moving on.
So do I in a weird way.
I only have
Spider-Man.
12 of them in my
Oh,
inventory.
we need
God
to talk
damn it.
about Spider-Man like right now.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
The big thing I want to say about it is the boss fights. They've done it. So the old Spider-Man games, ye old. I'm talking like Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro on the PlayStation 1. Like that kind of old. That was so heavily focused around you go through a level, kill like henchmen or whatever, and you work your way up doing like the occasional puzzles and stuff, and you fight a big boss. And you know, Spider-Man and Batman, both famous for obviously different universes and stuff, but both famous for their villains and the amount of them and variety and how cool they are. Spider-Man games should always be focused on boss fights, is what I'm trying to say.
I think,
and
yeah, I
they
think
look
if
cool.
it's if you make it kind of like, well, it already seems kind of like the Arkham series, but you know, a bit more focused on boss fights. I mean, the Arkham series is boss fights, but you know,
Yeah.
generally they focus more on like the odd moments where you're fighting like 5 goons at a time or whatever.
Yeah, they're that's just like the in between. It looks really good in my opinion. The dev
think
team
it does
seem
as well,
to
yeah.
have done their research, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
With
You
superhero
got
games.
like I can't name all of the bosses and stuff I saw in the trailer, but they do
Yeah.
look really cool and somewhat faithful to the comics. Vulture.
Yeah, it was the Sinister Six is what they were showing off.
Oh, so they have like a name and like organization.
Yeah. It was like it's
cool.
like Mr. Spidey's biggest villains teaming up together.
Sinister Six. Must
Yeah,
be
which
really
is
edgy.
literally in Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro. They had like meetings, like poker meetings. So they'd be like, there was like a cutscene of them all playing poker together, being like, talking how they were going to take down Spidey and stuff.
Imagine
Oh,
if they
it's
paid
just so
homage to
good.
that in the new one.
I hope so, because
Oh,
it's a
no,
great scene.
they have to.
I need to send it to you guys after this.
Oh,
And
sure thing.
listeners, you need to look up Spider-Man 2 PlayStation 1 Enter Electro villain poker scene or something like that. I don't know. It's pretty good.
Uploaded 2006 on YouTube and it's
Oh,
on
really?
like
Yeah.
240p
Yeah,
or
2006,
whatever.
Yeah. It's still great.
That's just the PlayStation 1's natural resolution,
yeah.
my friend.
No, but it was great.
No,
Great game.
I think the Spider-Man game looks neat. Like I trust Insomniac to make great superhero games after they made the Infamous series,
Yeah.
which I also love. The thing that I think looks really cool is they're merging some of the stuff we talked about with The Last of Us with like Uncharted's really seamless blend of like
And set
cinematic
pieces,
moments and gameplay. Like it looks smooth as hell.
That's literally what Spider-Man is like in movies as well. Love him or hate him. Like he is just like the. I don't want to say the king of set pieces. It's like if Uncharted. Like he's called Drake, right? I'm not a big Uncharted person. I don't want to like. Yeah, imagine if he could web swing and do all this crazy shit. Like, imagine how crazy the set pieces would be. That's what Spider-Man should be. It should be like Uncharted, but like times by whatever.
Webs
'Cause
and
it's,
lots
yeah,
of
it's
climbing.
aerial. There's so much aerial.
Yeah, and like
stuff.
it seems like they're going.
They
for
are.
it.
Well, they already have climbing in
Boss
Uncharted, my
fights, set pieces, crazy stuff.
Which is super cool. Yeah, like Sony didn't show much, but I think everything that they showed was really useful for the consumer.
Yeah, they showed a lot of gameplay.
And
that's such a
lot
big
of
thing.
gameplay.
That needs to be commended.
And
I think.
they did a good job in convincing me that I should get a PlayStation 4.
Yeah, they do. They do.
I don't think
a
I'll
very
ever
good
buy an
job of that.
Xbox or a PlayStation 4 again, to be honest, just because that subscription. However,
I mean, they have been in the controversy recently though for the whole Fortnite thing.
that was
and
really
being
stupid.
and like they've been very scummy for that in the past,
Yeah,
locking
they-
people to their.
I don't know
Yeah,
why
like,
they're
but-
doing that. Like even
Yeah.
Nintendo was opened up, which to my surprise.
Yeah, like PlayStation's cross-platform stuff is shitty as hell, but like their exclusives look awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah,
they reel you in with the exclusives, then tell you can't leave.
They have like there are enough of them now that I do want to get a PlayStation 4.
It almost reminds me of Apple, not in like their products, but like in their business practice sort of thing, where they lock you into their platforms. It's like the whole iTunes thing, like you buy a thing on iTunes, like you can't use it on a non-Apple product. It's like so you're locked into their system.
The tweet I just put in the general chat. Yeah, slamming Sony there.
Yeah, that's been a thing. Like companies recently have been so open to slamming each other. Like it's become more of a thing. I want to say. I mean, maybe
ever
it's
since
not.
Wendy's. I want to say Wendy's actually started.
Wendy's.
Yeah,
started the
they
trend.
started grilling
it
people.
makes corporations more human.
Does, yeah. It's pretty funny.
But yeah, no. Sony definitely convinced me that they've got like a cool lineup of stuff coming. Which is kind of the opposite of what Nintendo did, who were the final conference of E3.
Yeah.
And do you guys want to hear my impression of the Nintendo conference?
Sure. I know what you're going to say, but.
And that was a game, and this was this game. Oh, look, there's a little game. Anyway, 1. Mario. 7. Ripley. 9. Luigi. 12. The Wii Fitness Trainer. 15. Bowser. 17.
Damn, like how many fighters now are going to
Toad.
be here a while?
Which is
19.
a great thing, though. It's a lot of
Waluigi.
fighters, which is good.
21. Right, but they didn't have to fucking say, hey, we're making Smash Brothers. Now I'm going to list every single fucking character in this game.
But it's pretty cool. And as I mean, you're not a huge Smash fan, are you, Ralph?
I really like Smash, but don't fucking have a press conference and then spend. They spent 20
that's not
minutes.
It's the biggest thing, though.
Yeah, I'm not up for that either. But you got to think how big the Smash community is and how much they love that game.
But do you know what they could have done with it? They could have said, in the new Smash Brothers, we have everyone who's ever been in a Smash game is going to be in this.
But
they want to know. They want to know the details. Like Smash is a competitive game. Like it's
right. But like when they say every fighter we've ever had in this fighting series is going to be in it. You know immediately what that means.
They could have just sped it up, though.
It's just,
it could have had the same effect, but like a split second on each character.
I mean, they spent like 4 seconds on each character, and then after that they said, now let's list some changes we've made. And like they were just like fucking... They kept going on for like another 20 minutes after that.
I honestly don't mind that. It's
minuscule.
Because I'm such a big Smash fan. The only problem is the lack of real new stuff.
I'm on the fence.
Did you honestly care that Bayonetta, if you put her in
with
costume, her guns sound slightly different from the other
don't really... Well, it could be interesting, like switching around... Say, for example, you put on a skin and, I don't know, maybe it's like from Link from Ocarina of Time or something, and then you have like the sound effects from Ocarina of Time, then you put on his costume from Breath of the Wild, and then it's all new sound effects.
Small details.
That could be cool. I don't mind that. It's just the fact that they didn't really have any new stuff apart from Ripley. I'm going into characters now, like the Inkling characters. That really disappointed me. Like, oh wait, it's still going to be good. You're bringing back all the characters. You've changed some of the mechanics, some of the really like some of the staple mechanics, like blocking and stuff. That's going to change the whole dynamic, and it's going to make it far more frantic somehow. But honestly, I wanted to play as some new characters. Give me Waluigi. Give me another Pokemon character. Fuck it, more Mario characters, more Link characters, Legend of Zelda characters. I want to play as new people. I don't want to play as Ice Climbers. I was fucking around in 2008 for the release. I played them to death. Give me, I don't know.
I do love.
You go.
Moving on from Smash, if that's cool. Are you
yeah,
done?
That's fine.
Are you okay? Because Smash was big.
It's fine, but it's a re-release with some added
Ralph has
perks.
one more thing.
It was a really. I think the Smash thing was like a really shitty thing to do at the conference.
it put non-Nintendo fans or non-Smash fans definitely.
I didn't mind it.
Like,
it wasn't bad as a fan, but
I think it's bad for them to spend they spent.
It's by far
They
the biggest
spent
thing.
They spent.
I know,
they
but
spent,
it is
the
it
same
is still
amount of
bad.
time- They spent the same amount of time as Bethesda going off Fallout 76. They didn't go into as much. They went into like detail and stuff that like isn't that important. They didn't like really add much new. They then went to a broadcast afterwards to continue talking about Smash
they could have
with the
fit
same
it-
people who were
fit it
in the press conference, in the video telling you about it. They talked there for another hour about it. They didn't show anything about the new.
Ripley?
What's the name of the little?
No.
What's the name of the little dinosaur in Mario?
Yoshi.
games?
Yoshi.
Yoshi. They didn't mention anything about the Yoshi game that they announced
Oh
last
yeah,
year. Didn't
that's a bit weird.
Yeah, they didn't mention anything about the big Pokemon RPG that
No,
they're
they
making.
did. Oh, not the one
No,
next
no,
year.
no,
hey,
if you're
hey.
meaning that.
No, like the actual full proper sequel Pokemon RPG. They didn't mention
As
anything
in,
about
let's
that.
go
They meant
Eevee and Pikachu.
Hey,
The one coming out in
no,
November.
no, like as in like a red and blue type thing.
Yeah, that's what
Because they said they were working on
The
it
one
last
that-
year. They didn't mention anything about it
Wait,
this year.
wait,
They
what?
didn't mention anything about Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, they should have had Metroid Prime there. Like they
Like
guys.
they've
Or
over
at
the last
least
couple
some
of
more
years
information.
they've announced like 4 or 5 games, and they've said fucking nothing
Hey,
about
guys,
them this
guys.
year.
Super Mario Party.
Oh fuck yeah! I'm
It
sorry.
looks pretty good. Like,
It's
I
good.
don't know. Like, I know they've not mentioned
That
these
does look
games,
pretty
but as someone that played Super Mario Party on the DS, that is actually
Yeah.
one of the best party
Super
games.
Mario Party
It's
is
got party
fucking
in it for a reason.
ridiculous. Like it's just those moments with your friends where you're
Oh,
like
it's-
playing some
it is really
fucking
good
I don't
for
know,
that.
don't fall off the cliff mini game. And then
Yeah.
one of your twat friends elbows you in the stomach and then you lose. It's like those are the reasons why you buy Mario
Yeah,
Party.
it's
alright?
like screw your friends, or like one of the best mini games I've ever played in a game was so dumb, and it was on Super Mario Party on the DS, and you had to. It was called Dust Buddies, and you had to run away from a Hoover, and there was things on the floor. You're all tiny, and there was things on the floor like big buttons and like like bits of like cloth, and if you're on
Yeah.
the bit of cloth when it was getting sucked up, you'd get like sucked right in. And
Yeah.
I don't know, there's something about it. It's so fun. You can like jump
The
on each other's
mini games
heads.
are probably the
So
greatest out of like
It's
all
so
modern games. They've got like such a stupid collection, like
Yeah.
and they're all like some of them are just stupid throwaway
Mhm.
ones that you don't want to play, but some of them are brilliant.
Yeah.
Bring back WarioWare.
I've never really played WarioWare, so I guess I don't care too much. But
It's minigame heaven.
But yeah, no, screw him for not showing that stuff. That sucks. But
yeah.
you know,
and their online
might-
service,
they
they didn't mention that at all, despite that
Nah, of
supposedly
course they
coming out
didn't.
in December.
they don't
No,
want to
December,
mention it.
September, sorry.
They want to keep
Uh,
it down low as possible.
I
again,
really
though-
don't like it though. Why
Again,
are you
though-
sinking to your competitors' levels?
Fortnite came out the day it got announced, and it
Oh,
was free,
yeah.
which is I
I
know Fortnite's
downloaded
free,
it on
but-
Switch and it plays as you'd expect. It's alright.
I mean, if a game is free for a platform, and it gets released on the day it's announced, that's just pretty good all around.
Yeah.
Like,
Cross platform
Yeah.
play as well. So
yeah, exactly. So you
like,
got your account and all your cool cosmetics and stuff. I mean, I don't play
Yeah.
it, but you know,
Yeah.
that's
I,
I respect that.
it had like 2 million downloads on the day, so at least they're doing something right by thinking, hey, look, Fortnite's a popular game. Why don't we stick it on a tablet-esque console?
I mean, yeah, I mean that's like the most obvious thing for them to try and do. But like, it just made me like their conference turned me from somebody who was considering getting a Switch because of games like Zelda and Mario Odyssey into somebody who's kind of thinking like there isn't much more
It
than
totally
that.
didn't.
Like,
I
on the
don't know. I feel
horizon.
like that's
There-
that's unfair to say. I'm not. I
Those
agree
games
with you,
still
the
do
conference-
exist, and they're still
There's more
supporting
than
Breath
that.
of the
They've
Wild.
brought out
But-
loads of games that are now compatible for the Switch as well over the past.
No, but I mean,
while.
like aside from third party stuff, because like I can get a lot of third party stuff just on the PC.
Yeah, I know, but it's a different
It's
experience
like-
The
entirely.
reason
they didn't bring them out
I
again.
invested in a Switch is just because they're exclusive. That's exclusives. That's what keeps Nintendo going. The fact that you can never play a Donkey Kong game on PC or a Mario game on.
I don't
PC,
think that's
unless
just what the
it's-
Switch is, though. I think like the Switch,
No,
the whole
like,
point of all
the
these
ports
third parties
side
coming
of it
is
is big.
definitely the portability. Like
One
you,
of the-
you can't get that experience anywhere else. I can't.
Yeah.
I literally can't take my PC anywhere with me.
Yeah,
It's-
like
Yeah.
what was it? Like one of the reasons I like still play mine fairly frequently is just the fact that I can play games on my PC. I can play games on my PC that are portable. Oh, what the fuck am I trying to say? Just the fact you can bring it with you anywhere. Like, most of the time that's just me going and sitting on the couch downstairs, but still, like...
Yeah, that's so powerful, though. Like, literally nothing
Skyrim
else
with you.
offers that. Nothing else offers that. And, like, that is not something to be put down just because they've not talked about their new Pokemon game and stuff. I agree that the conference was pretty lame.
Which Pokemon games were they, though? You must mean the ones coming out next year, like the new generation one. The new generation.
Well, if they've got Pokemon games coming out next year and they didn't talk about them, then that's pretty lame.
No, they announced it like a few weeks ago. What they do is
no, not the Eevee thing, but like
not the Go one.
Proper like like main series Red and Blue.
Yeah, that's
stuff.
the new generation that's coming out late to next year, 2019. And
why didn't they show it at E3 though?
I don't know.
That's
like generally, what they do is they.
I'm talking from a conference standpoint. Like they should have shown it.
Like
every
year they
like at least like a little update on stuff.
Well, Nintendo always like, say for example, towards the start of the year they release like the first teaser. If they release a teaser for a main series Pokemon title, they release it the same year, just later on.
Yeah. But we just don't get why they didn't show it at E3. And
I think they should have. It would have really helped, especially if it's a new generation.
Also, Super Mario Party, you can't just write that down. It's not a big game either, because that's like one of their main games.
Yeah,
like,
that's
like
like
a complete. Just because like it's not your thing doesn't mean it doesn't count. It's like a main game for the Switch.
I'm looking forward to
Fire Emblem
fucking,
as well.
Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem has been a title that's been in like the DS and Nintendo lineup, and it's like a full-on JRPG or whatever.
It's gained a lot of traction over the years in the Western hemisphere.
Yeah, totally. It's like Dragon Quest, but not Dragon Quest.
Yeah, it is dope. It's just like I don't know,
and Smash.
The Switch
they hit three pretty big titles. I feel like it's unfair to say that there aren't any titles, and that if you were completely put off buying a Switch, that wasn't, I don't know, because there wasn't exclusives. It's just because
it just makes me. The impression I got is that they don't have a lot of like big stuff coming out in like the next year. Like maybe in like 2 years they're gonna have like a bunch of heavy hitters, but I don't know. Like after
what were you expecting?
It kind of feels like. I mean, at least like updates on the stuff they announced like in the last 2 years.
Like, that's
but like
fair enough.
you compare that to like Microsoft and Sony, and like they clearly showed that they have like a lot of cool stuff coming out in like the next year, 2 years, and Nintendo, like I think focusing in on like one big game, like hurt their other products.
I think and as much as I
see
them,
what you mean. I see what you mean.
Maybe pull back Smash a bit, even though it has like
they
stupid amount of IPs. But
there's
still
no denying that going over the characters that much was just dumb. But Super Mario Party, Fire Emblem,
it's a console
Smash, and well, if they've announced the Pokemon thing, they should have shown it at E3. But I feel like it's unfair to say that they don't have any big titles coming soon.
Though they have Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu coming in November, and that's probably the thing I'm looking forward most to, just because it's simple. It's just a main series title on the Switch, and if you've played Pokemon Go, which chances are, you probably have if you're a Nintendo fan, then you can take some of the Pokemons you caught there and transfer them onto your console, which is cool.
That is a really smart.
I really like how they integrated that, but again, they already mentioned that prior to E3, so it's not
so it wasn't new.
groundbreaking.
So
it would have made the conference so much better if they just waited.
Yeah,
damn it.
So overall,
I think that's a theme from this year's E3, with like every conference had things that would have been really cool announcements
that they'd already announced,
but the companies. Yeah, they'd either announced them beforehand or they'd been leaked before.
Oh yeah, Nintendo had a few games leaked actually, including Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu. That was leaked back in February actually on Reddit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, like a lot of stuff this year kind of got spoiled beforehand.
Yeah, sucks.
Which I think took the wind out of quite a few developers' sails. But like I think overall
Nintendo was pretty disappointing, but
fairly disappointing.
I'd say alright,
So-
not bad, but not good.
Yeah,
Like,
Smash was a big announcement. Like they had good announcements, they just didn't deal with them very well. We'll put it.
I think they
Yeah.
will have.
per presentation.
They do already have a lot of good titles on the Switch, and like Ralph said, in the next 2 years, it's just going to become a juggernaut of like Nintendo IPs and indie games
but,
and stuff like that.
Yeah. The Switch has
Yeah,
a
I
longer
think,
lifespan than the current consoles, so it's not like it needs to
Yeah.
rush. or
It's
anything.
not directly competing, so it can kind of take its own
Yeah.
time.
The fact Nintendo is still around is because they haven't licensed their games and stuff for the Xbox One and PS4 and stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Anyway, E3 overall, like you said, a little bit of wind lost because of leaks and stuff, which really sucks. But I guess you just there's no way to avoid it. Really, it just
Yeah.
happens. But E3 was pretty good.
I still think,
It was good.
yeah, overall,
Yeah.
I think very good
Compared to
like,
last
there's a good
year,
spread.
I'd say, like, oh man.
Last year, I think there were some like pretty interesting announcements, but like there's a lot of sort of filler and faff.
I really liked
Uh,
last year, but only because I only really watched Nintendo. And of course they had like
you're
a
Nintendo.
Yeah.
they
expert.
had like a new game pretty much each month.
Oh,
for
Bethesda was
nearly each-
terrible last year, so bad. That's why I think
Yeah.
like a lot of people were so like. I think Bethesda got a lot of hype behind theirs because a lot of people bigged it up because like their one last year was just so bad.
What
and
did
then
they
this
even
one...
say last or do last year? Can't even.
VR
Very
for
little.
Fallout.
Oh, of course.
Elder Scrolls
VR for
Legends
Skyrim.
was ESO
as
that.
well?
Yeah, that was literally like it. I think they did
Skyrim
announce,
for
like, one
Toaster.
thing. It was pretty lame.
Yeah, they did have that sick Wolfenstein trailer
Yeah, they
last
did.
year, which was like 8 minutes long and was crazy.
That's like
and
all
made
they
no
had.
sense.
But this year was way better for them. They did a lot this year, which is cool.
Yeah, they managed to explain things a bit better this year.
In some cases,
You've got like you have to take into account that they are a lot smaller than the other companies.
Yes,
they take their time though
They're
to
still
come out
growing.
with quality titles. You can't
Yeah,
bring out like a
exactly.
Fallout. If a Fallout or
And-
Skyrim,
yeah.
Skyrim Elder Scrolls game is coming out,
Mm.
you know it's going to be good.
Oh yeah,
Well,
and
they've
they're
taken the
doing-
time.
They're doing good at backing
Most of the time.
They're doing good at backing good companies. I'd say like producing. I think their producing is going
Yes,
very well.
much.
Considering they're like, not new to it, but new enough that it's like they're not exactly,
Yeah, they've got some very fucking good teams
Yeah, exactly.
working with them
Yeah.
at the moment.
and they're pushing innovation.
and if-
which is
Yes, and like if they collaborate with whether they are in Rage, I can see them doing some really fucking cool stuff in the coming years. I think Sony focused, had a cool showing, nothing too drastic or exciting, but like really informative.
yeah,
and
the
nice to
gameplay
see.
was the big part of that for me. Like they showed the most gameplay by far, and that's just great because gameplay is.
Yes,
I mean, that's what you're going to be playing. So
yeah, it's the most important thing for you to like see before buying.
yeah,
a
that's
game.
that's when I feel comfortable pre-ordering. If they show gameplay and talk about features, that's when I would ever consider pre-ordering a game, which I've never done. But actually, no, I've done once,
Absolutely.
and that's because I actually played a beta of the game.
That makes sense.
Ah, right, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really pre-order now, like very rarely.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do, but I think if like it's only fair, like if I really was interested in the game, like I'm not gonna pre-order Fallout 76, but there's a beta for it, and if I play that beta, that's another thing.
Yeah, we should all get on
Fallout
the beta.
76
Oh,
has
yeah,
a
that would be
beta.
fun.
Okay, it has a beta and a release date. I think that deserves some credit. Whether you think the game, whether you have hype for the game or not, you literally get to try.
Well, we'll
Like,
hold
and see.
them to it. Hopefully the beta will be good, and hopefully the finished product will. And
Yeah.
it will come out on time, of course.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
I'm still feeling
don't
cautious
think-
about it, but I do
I don't
want to
think
try the
Bethesda
beta.
have missed a release date, have they?
Not to my memory.
No,
No, they've not.
No, I don't
They
think
they
have.
very rarely delay their games. If they set a date,
I think
then it's usually pretty set in
They
stone.
they missed the release date on Oblivion for the Xbox,
A long
but like
time ago,
whatever, that was
yeah.
like 15 years ago.
When games were, it was a
We-
different time.
Hacks!
we can let them
Yeah.
one slide
Uh-huh.
just a little bit.
Crackdown
yeah,
3.
Microsoft cool announcements
Yeah,
apart
no.
from Crackdown
Yeah.
3. It's neat that they like bought Ninja Theory. That's
Mhm.
super cool. And
Makes
then
them more
Just a lot of
formidable
games.
suddenly.
Just a lot of games.
a lot of games, and a lot of them looking
They
pretty
look cool,
good.
but not enough detail for me. But like, it was entertaining still. But it's again for me, like I could have watched that on YouTube, like, and got the same experience in my opinion.
No, what else is? Yeah, I mean EA. Just,
Yeah. PC gaming, super cool. I like that. It's a good.
PC gaming.
It made a good part of E3. I think
Yes.
it's obviously never going to be a main thing, but that's good. We want smaller things as well, like the indie games themselves. Just makes sense.
Yeah. No, I think overall the conferences, some of them were paced weird, some of them presentation wasn't
As always.
all there. But as always, which is one thing I do kind of love about I love
It
when
never
E3
goes
breaks.
perfect. It never will
No.
go perfect.
There's always one fuck
No.
up.
Yeah, of course.
There's always
Yeah,
like
there's-
7. Yeah,
oh.
like my favorite moments from E3 are just watching people on stage go,
Yeah. Oh, what should I say now? They're not clapping.
Yeah, it's when they say something they don't clap. It's the worst.
Yeah.
but yeah, I think overall like a lot of the games look fucking fantastic.
Good year for games coming up.
Very excited, very very excited for the next year and a half.
Yeah. Even for the stuff that wasn't announced, Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Give me
You
that
bastard.
Star
Show
Fox.
us
Give me
what
that
you've got.
Metroid.
Yeah,
Give me that
Bethesda, known
Pokemans.
for their Star Fox. Yeah, that was a good one actually.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway,
Aaron.
that was Munch Media's thoughts on E3. You guys might not have watched it. Some of you might not even care.
Wait, hang
Which
on.
is pretty good.
Before
Uh-huh.
we do that, what game are you guys all most excited
Oh,
about? Looking
good
forward.
okay.
question.
Out of all of them that it got announced, I mean, Elder Scrolls 6, but there was nothing on it. But I'm still the most excited.
But is
for Elder
that...
Scrolls 6.
Can you really... it's just a promise that they're working on it, though. I mean, obviously, it probably will be good and transformative and,
I mean, it's he
brilliant.
said the game you're most
Sorry.
excited for.
I suppose.
It's got announced, so no, I don't know.
Oh, you know,
Literally, 76 I'm looking forward to because I like those kind of games and I like Bethesda. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Wolfenstein 2, Doom 2, I guess Rage 2. Not that much. Literally, like everything in Bethesda, just looking forward to it. Nah, if I have to choose something outside of Bethesda, to be fair,
No,
I mean,
no, you don't.
obviously,
I mean,
obviously Cyberpunk, but yeah, then again, no release date on that. I guess should we limit ourselves to a release date? This question,
just
Aaron, you
Nah,
made this
don't.
question. I gave my answer.
I'm sorry.
You made me have to change
No,
it.
go.
That's
Nah,
Elder
that's
Scrolls
cool.
6.
So over to you, Aaron. What's the cool thing you're looking forward to?
Probably going to be Death Stranding. So
Nice.
yes,
Yes,
very close
I'm
to
also
Pokemon. But I already know what it's going to be. It's just a main series title on the Switch. Ah, that's a mouthful.
Mm.
Yeah, Death Stranding for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm excited for all those games as well. But yeah, for me, it's like 1000% Cyberpunk. I mean, like Satisfactory, and there's a lot of really good
there's-
stuff.
yeah,
but
there's too
Cyberpunk
much.
is the one.
Too much.
There's too much. There's one last thing that I just want to say, which is a story that came out of E3, which made me smile. Which is a journalist that I really liked. It was going to the food courts outside of the Microsoft conference, like a couple of hours after it, to go and get a burger. And as he was walking past hundreds of people sitting down, just quietly eating their meals at the food court, a completely random businessman in a suit with a briefcase stood up amongst all these people, raised his fists in the air, and just screamed, "Cyberpunk!"
Oh
and
yeah.
sat down and finished his meal.
Yeah,
Fair
you gotta
point.
love that. I mean, he's dedicated to the cause.
Hype.
Are you sure that wasn't you, Ralph, in a suit and a mask?
Probably was. He's trying to get some sort of good publicity.
He's getting the publicity out.
Well, that's the thing. I think that is maybe the best marketing I have ever seen for a
Yeah,
game.
CD Projekt Red sent him in. They knew. They knew that everyone would get
Yeah,
chatting about
no.
it. Yeah, no, that's great.
Maybe they gave him
I-
a free key,
free
so you
key.
could pre-download the game.
They let him play the 50-minute demo or whatever it was.
Yeah. No, I mean, hey, good on CD Projekt Red for opening their Cyberpunk trailer with a lot of Steam keys for
Yeah,
which
that sounds
free game
amazing.
of the year
I
edition.
need
That's
to
like
watch
what
that segment.
I was saying earlier. They're so consumer friendly.
How many keys, by the way? Sorry, I must ask. How
Who
many
knows?
keys did they give out?
Ooh, I think it was like 100.
Yeah, that's a lot. Anyway, let's wrap up because oh
Yes,
my
wait.
god, 2
Christ,
hours
this-
and 17 minutes is coming up.
Last
for.
Jedi Part 2, baby.
Yeah, we're doing it right now as well. This is going to be a 4-hour one now. Yeah.
So the thing I really like about The Last Jedi is that on a second viewing, it actually makes a lot more sense and becomes one of the best Star Wars films.
Anyway, everyone,
It's really
in
interesting.
classic
and my
Munch Media
favourite
style,
thing, my
I'm
favourite
going to
thing
have
about
to
The Last Jedi
do the
Part
outro
2.
over the others talking. And now they've stopped. Great. That was our thoughts on E3 2018, and we'll see you guys next time for probably a normal podcast. Goodbye.
Cyberpunk.
Yes.